is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awake to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine Ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. In the darkness of night, gonna let my light shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. I'm becoming fearless. What is up, everyone? It's your main man, Frankie FearLess. And I'm here with my main man, KG, Sons of the Sun. Together, we got some stuff to show you tonight. Want to talk about, want to do some stuff. So to kick it off right, we got the new track, Capacitor, from Sons of the Sun. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Sons of the Sun in the house.
Check it out. Carrying my torch, travel through the dark. Nobody is going to save you now. Down of our species, go on for long enough. Underneath the beat subliminals, truly what the fuck I call it what it is, man. Yo, it's weak as fluff. How long you gonna let them mess you up with the stuff? I'll make sure you understand every word that I say. We don't consent, straight the fuck up means it's not okay. By the time with you is up, feeling you better make way. Help perpetuate the ignorance you be forever. Pray but not the fam. Stay original shamans and ambassadors. Fucking with the layers, this is disruptors and the challenges. A system of the guy up on the break like oil calibers. Always feel the truth. With no other parameters, without judgment, no when it's best to become passengers. Also, when they take the helm and be sort of a balancer, stay calm. When everyone around like there's a massacre, got gigawatts of time travel like a flux capacitor. Carrying my torch, travel through the dark. Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, of course, we're the Sons of the Sun. Yo, we knock this shit out the park. Carrying my torch, travel through the dark. Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, of course, we'll leave them raw. Sons of the Sun, yo, we knock this shit out the park. Nobody is going to save you now.
I can't see, I'm surrounded by dark. By consequence, my consciousness ignites the spark. Who am I? Do I even exist? This time I think I'll transform inside the matrix. Karmic tricks, release for the shift, then realize the lies, cause it all lies inside. You can't stop the truth when its time has arrived. This time is one, creators we rise. Separated we tried, I can't understand what's real. It's hard to feel, they modified the deal. The darkness isn't evil, but what's inside has eyes. But so do I, let's grow wings and fly. I'm inspired to try, despite the odds we die. 7 billion ways, this time we decided to stay. To set the stage as I glide through space. Like the Silver Surfer, I came here to ride the wave.
Carrying the torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, of course, we're the Sons of the Sun. Yo, we knock this shit out the park.
Carrying the torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, of course, we'll leave them raw. Sons of the Sun, yo, we knock this shit out the park.
Carrying the torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, of course.
course, we leave them all. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock the shit out of the park.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock the shit out of the park.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Check it out. Nobody is going to save you now.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Nobody is going to save you now.
Well, now, that's kind of powerful right there. It makes me feel good in places I'm not used to seeing on camera like this. Just kidding. Let me bring out my man KG right here. Sons of the Sun. So we've been at this a while, a long time, and we're going to do something a little different tonight. KG and I are going to just discuss pretty much everything on the table when it comes to us, the music, the spirituality behind it, literal eating mushrooms and going through some stuff the last few nights. We're going to cover all the topics. We might even play some other music tonight as well. I don't monetize anything here, so let them hit me with whatever. Everyone gets their money. So how are you, my brother? Oh, I got your mic off. There you go. How are you, my brother? It's that fucking button, bro. I told you. It's right. I kept the cursor on it so I wouldn't fucking forget.
I'm excellent. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. So I always talk about full moon energy, and that 2 of the year is like really good energy for me. Like I come out of the gate fighting the whole time, but the lead in was really rough with the retrograde, but I feel fantastic. And today is day 15 apparently of eating mushrooms. So I feel rewired. I feel clean. I feel complete. And this is why we're finally doing this. I'm going to talk on air with you about things I didn't discuss off air with you really, but but this is special though. I wanted to make sure, and I know only as an OG you would understand this and what you've been through, that we complete the 3. Right? Like I didn't want to burst a bubble or blow out someone's ego or present the whole package, until we were like, yo, we're 3 deep. Once you're there, you're in. You're in. We had a program, we followed it. But patience is what I've been learning with myself. Understanding what I love about music, why I even do it in the first place. Like Paul and I were, all right, I was just running back and forth, smoking a blunt with Paul. And so the song's blasting in the house. And every time I have it on, whatever song, she cranked that shit up. So we were sitting there talking, and she's like, yo, this is really good, man. And I was like, I it's hard to have words because I loved all the songs I did with Heist Click. But now I look back, and there's a lot. There's like 70-something songs, maybe closer to 100, that are around and out there and all kinds of weird shit. However, there was like a lot of throwaway and a lot of in between. And you and I went 1, 2, 3. But it started a while ago, like years ago. This started a while back.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you now, where did this start for you?
Do you mean the Suns?
You tell me.
Just okay.
Freebie, kid. Fly it.
I guess it started as a kid. I was mesmerized by an invisible force that could move people the way that it did.
Wow.
Just an invisible force. Like, I was always fascinated by it. And then to actually sit behind a kit my first time out the gate and be able to play something like with I just knew, like, I mean, my story goes back to like the elementary school. Like, when I played drums in front of my whole like elementary school, like I was in a 5th, 6th grade, something like that. But after, that's where I got that first, the first and only dose of what I saw, like that invisible force of the sound that I was creating, and then the energy and applause that I saw after that. From that moment on, there was nothing else that I wanted to do. Nothing. And that has not changed to this day.
That's crazy that you say that. I was in the shower before. I had fixed my JBL Charge 3. I have the big, like a medium size one, and it just keeps popping every time I do hip hop or anything. So, and I love to sing in the shower. So I fixed it the other day. I don't know how did I fix it. I keep taking it apart, putting it back together, and it was slamming, and Grease came on. The song Grease from the movie Grease, right? So I played Danny in Grease in the 8th grade through into college. And I was the chubby kid in the class, and it started from everyone looked better than me, looked the part. They were thin, and they were like, they looked like the guys from the movie at the time. Everybody was emulating that stuff. And not one person would put the personality type of standing there with the movement that you needed, that you were just talking about, the things that would move you. So I noticed that nobody had that. The girl that was playing the other part, and there was a couple other girls, they were cheerleaders, and they were much better. So I'm like, man, the lead needs somebody like me. I always used to feel like my own little superhero. So I love that movie, and I couldn't believe this was going on. So I ran up. I says, guys got to let me try out. They were like, hey, you're a little thick. The nuns did not want to call me fat, right? So people were teasing me, but I had his hairdo, like the Andrew Dice Clay. When I was that age, it was just like flowing back DA, where you could bob it around and it moves. And so they let me try out, and I crushed it. I sang all the songs. I danced all the dances, and the girls lost their shit. Nobody talked to me. They were cool with me. Everyone knew me, but nobody really talked to me. Once that went off, they were like, what? So then when I went to high school, they were like, yo, what are we doing? And I went in and I said, yo, we should do Grease. And they were like, guess who's playing the main guy? I said, oh shit, this is going to go down again. And then we were doing it all the way up to college. Weird stuff. And I put my all into it. Right. So I realized I can't sing well. I could sing. I could sing, but I rap. I do hip hop. It's like, that's my thing. I might mix it. You know, we're going to get into the mix, but my voice is clearly meant to come through a certain way.
Sure.
Right. And I made the transition from being that bouncy character into the character I am today. Pretty interesting. It's where it starts and how it goes on into the universe from there. So what was the name of the first group you were in?
I mean, there were like junior high bands, and then like bands that really, the first one of any substance where there was a demo cut professionally, that was Venus Fly.
All right.
That was that was the first one of any substance where I got out there and I was playing shows and stuff like that with some of the some of the roadies, like from the Descendants and stuff. We had them as
All right, I'm gonna break it right now. That you just said the Descendants, very awesome. So Bill Stevens, right? Stevens, that his name? The guy from the Descendants, the singer. He's playing Saturday night here in the city. In Josh from our group, the guy You the Magician, he did the book You the Magician, Josh and Jody.
Yeah.
Josh Carruthers, Bill's performing in his group because they're best buds. And they're going to be chilling together. And it says something on the flyer like, not the Descendants. It's funny. He's like, I'm on the album. I'm coming to play. It's crazy. I'm like, that you just said that.
I think that, like, despite, like, I was trying to, I keep mentioning our stories are like so similar, but yet have their own trials and tribulations at the same time. Like, until, like, I guess it was the other part 1 where you were broadcasting from, version 1.
You can say it. It is volume 1. Yeah. Over at TFR. I get it.
Yeah. So that's where like, and I knew, it's crazy that, like, when I heard your voice coming through, like you just spoke about that certain frequency, I was like, I'm going to do music with that motherfucker right there. You didn't know me yet. You didn't know anything of the sort, but, like, I just knew it right from the jump.
That's amazing. And I'm going to tell you that most all, leaving out of 5%, say that about me when they hear my voice. And I've said this, I think, on the first show I ever did with on TFR. I was doing interviews there, and I'm like, Ayahuasca had told me your voice is going to set people off, and they're going to know that somehow the connection's there. But she showed me what the connection actually was, and I was like, oh, we're all family. Like, I had to learn what soul family was, right, over your physical DNA suit. So I've met people in this way, in the most amazing way. It was like, if I didn't step out from behind my curtain and just tell the story, I wouldn't have met you and everybody else. You know, Joe's in the room. What's up, Joe? And he heard an old interview with me and Chris and was like, that's going to be my shaman. You know, he'll tell the story one day. I'll get him to do it. And then he's like, you didn't know me, nothing. I listened to it 3-4 times, played it for other people, and then got in touch with you. And you were like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, you know, some ayahuasca business. And it's changed people's lives. So this is why when we work together, and I know why it's taken so long, it was like all these little loops and bubbles that we were jumping through, little portals. But in the end product that's come out, we're going to go over the songs tonight. Man, my hat's off to you, bro. All the sounds you hear other than my voice, and well, including some of the stuff on my, I mean, naturally you're producing it, is all you, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Dude, you make great sounds.
Well, remember, they didn't sound like that at the very beginning.
My brother said to me, who the fuck are you paying for those beats? That's what he said to me. Bob Banks from the heist, the count. He was like, what is this? This is fucking great. And I was like, no, that's he's doing that. And he's like, he does that? That's what you're hanging out with? I go, well, yeah, you got married, had kids. I met Paula, Ayahuasca, and Kevin, and a whole bunch of others. All right. You got to go to work. You got to do sanitation, which is a noble job, right? You got to do your thing, though. So get to fucking work and let me get to work. Here, boy, this is all for you right now. I don't know if it's so. Shout outs to Paul and Milo in the house, the Etherical Translators right here. All right. So my first group one of the first groups was called Necessary Rage. I didn't name the group, but I was in it for a little bit, and I felt like that raw. It was all rock though, right? So growing up in music, one thing I've noticed, Kev, which we don't really have with each other, but we checked each other a bunch of times to make sure. So in rock, singers don't like to have two singers, right? So if you have like a singer with a high voice that's like really good, and a singer with like a mid-range voice that's really good, that could do all these other things that guy can't do, but this guy can't do what that guy could do, and have them singing on stage together, then Alice in Chains comes out. Right now, before Alice in Chains was doing their thing, I was in Florida and I had seen a group doing this. They were singing covers. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. This went on for years down in Florida. These guys, they did like, I can't remember their names. And the whole 4 years I was there, they were rocking people there. They were there before that. No. This was a group just doing covers, and they had two singers. One guy had short hair. One guy had long hair. One guy looked like a regular guy, and the other guy looked like a metalhead. It was just interesting how it worked. Then during my time, especially in Necessary Rage, there's two of us, and we would kill it, and then the other singer got a little pissy. He was better, but it diminished the sound, and then the group broke up. So I used to put forth the energy, and I know you do the effort and energy. Oh fuck, man, you're loaded with the creative juices, which is why you are Creative Prime. But groups would fail, not because I wasn't in it, but I noticed things that I stuck to things better maybe than they did, and then learned the technical ins and outs. Because I did that, I was the guy that worked with the sound guy, the guy in the recording place. If somebody needed to be bounced out of a place, like just whatever. So I learned the whole thing. I learned the money and the cash, and how to sell stuff out of the trunk, and records and stuff,
right,
and get the message out there. But kids would give up halfway.
Sure.
Maybe less than halfway. They'd start falling apart. Like bad. I've never seen such self-sabotage in so many areas. So many good songs no one's ever heard, because emo depression. I've never been so happy. The first time, I never rapped before in front of anyone but my boys. I went down to Manhattan, and Droit Moral, which is a rock group that never made it, was looking for 3 hip-hop frontmen, 1 singer, and it was a drum, bass, guitar. So they were on stage. I came up in the elevator, and they were like, people were yelling, Atlantic Records is in there, whatever. So I was with my whole group, and this wasn't the Heist, this was Hydro Click, bunch of potheads. But we had some really fucking cool tracks. So we went into the room. I went in first. I saw LL, some lawyer guy, a whole bunch of hot girls. I saw Jam Master Jay, and I saw Prodigy and Havoc. So I fucking ran into the room like a kid in a candy store. And the 2 guys behind me, I'm not going to say who they were. They walked in. I turned around to be like, holy shit, it's fucking LL Cool J. And he was coming over to me. So I was like, oh, fuck yeah. And the kid behind me was like, it's LL Cool J. He turned around, he walked out of the room. And the other kid was like, I'm not doing this. And he just walked out following him. And I went, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
So he's like, go get your boys or get out. So I ran outside. Get the fuck in here. We went up on stage. Eventually we crushed it. But that was like the theme for the first round, right? You make it into a spot, and then you're not available to continue past what you just did. Oh, I rhymed in front of a LL. I'm good. I'm like, no, we never had a show, right? Like, we didn't do it yet. You're nothing yet. Come on. And the shit would scare them. I'd be up in the limelight, man. There'd be like 2,000 people. My brother, MC Cutter, and Petro, and a couple of the random singers and DJs we've had would cut it hard. We were the only ones out of 12 kids. And then we rotated singers because they were just fall out. Never a failure. You had mentioned something before. I'm going to let you speak on yours now, but everything I feel that I've done with the heist, I don't know if we ever put 3 in a row that made me feel so good. They all made me feel good because I was a kid getting it done. At times I was signed, so there was 3 songs we handed in, but I'm listening to what we're doing now. Maybe it's our age, maybe it's the wisdom behind it, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I'm like literally bugging the fuck out on how everything sounds and how good, maybe good it makes me feel, but there's honesty coming from people. Paula, she's like, yo, you got a lot of good Heist Click songs. There, when we play them, we dance around the house and stuff, but then it's like fleeting. It's just fleeting. This is something different. It's like everything is lined up so this can occur.
Right.
In the way you need it to, which would be me and you and I. You know, what did you go through?
Well, it was a lot dissimilar. It was, rather than the hip hop side, it was more on the rock side. Except we started where this is not the first band, but this is the one that essentially like got the offer or whatever. Illogic. So we cut our first demo and we recorded these things live. We didn't go and do like separate takes. Like I was in a room playing bass, Alex and guitar, Steve drums, and we would just do it live because that's how we perfected our sound. It was just a live act. You know what I mean? So, and that was one thing that I always heard, like how good we sounded live. Because if you ever been to a show and then heard like a band that sounded great when they're studio cut and then you see them live and it sounds like ass, it's because they overdubbed 20, 40 times on guitar tracks and shit, and it's just not the same thing. It's not happening live. But we cut that first demo, and I remember driving downtown. It was me and Alex downtown DC, and we just got out with a box of CDs and freaking pounded the pavement. Like went in Georgetown, we just hit bing, 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 went from bar to bar. That whole area, like the groundwork was just laid like that. So like we built what would be the end result, like from basically I make jokes like when you start out, like it's like your mom and dad and like the couple of closest friends you have at your shows in the beginning, but then like you put in the work, then you get your ROI, your return on investment, and then it's becomes standing room only, and the place is fucking packed. And like that's how I've learned to come up. Like I guess I've always been. I guess now I'm like you were saying, it is the age, I think, and experience, and like so we started like packing the houses every place that we would play. And I was just a totally different personality. Like I was a young dude, like drinking a bunch, just doing like the awful. So I think if things would have happened back then, it would have been no bueno, like really, really bad. But in the end, it was, there was an offer, and then it was like you start writing because the label will tell you we need 6 more, 7 more exactly like that one. And then and when that happens, we're going to put you out
with formula.
There you go. We're going to put you out with this band at this time, and it's like all this shit fucking all this shit comes in the fucking in your mind. You see, like, I've worked so hard to get here, and now it's right there. There's the finish line. But all I gotta do is 6 more, just like that. And then you start writing for an entity other than what made you successful or popular in your area, and then you implode. And that's basically what happened. Like, each one of us had an idea of what that song or that sound should be like to follow suit with the radio friendly hit or single that we had written. So, and then one would disagree, the other would disagree, and then it just went poof. So like from there, like I was super angry because that was the finish line for me. And like,
what was the area you were in?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, because they don't know what area you're
Oh,
from,
yeah.
you're
Well,
from.
born and raised in that area. Like, yeah.
Gangster.
Yeah. So, that like, so it's called the DMV. So you, like, you got DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Those three places all kind of intersect really close by the Beltway or whatever. So like you have the opportunity, or you at least used to have a lot of venues and gigs and stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of hole in the wall shit hole places to play, but like some of those places, like we packed them, and like those were like usually some of the most fun shows that we've played in those like hole in the wall joints. But after that imploded, like I didn't want to have anything to do with anything guitar driven or anything. So like I had to bring me a butthurt care package because I was like fucking meh, like definitely like that, which in turn led me into like drum and bass, like that side of things, which to me has always been like hip hop flipped on 45 or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like double time, you know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
weird. You're the speed that you like on your music, the shit that you create, your instrumentals and sounds. And I'm like, what speed is this? Like we had to get on track together that way. And listen to me, man. This is the weirdest shit to me. So we did the Superpowers album, and then we dropped Invincible, and Invincible, we would sit there and go, okay, if you rapping on fast shit, you're a punk. So they would go 88. Right, that's what the guy would say to me in the studio. So I could do 82 if you want 82, and I'm like, all right, that's a little slow, right? So we go through this shit all the time, but we would never go higher than like 92. Like it was something that we thought as MCs, you should be good enough with all these guys, because like you're saying, talking about polished groups, and then you go see them live and they're not good. So there was a generation before me that was just amazing. And then these polished things that were happening around us. So when we came up, we were used to just rhyming a cappella outside on like somebody had a boombox or their car radio. We had DMX, Get At Me Dog. We had that with the flip side. It was a fucking record. And then they got a cassette tape. Dude, it was the crazy, and we would just play that, and then we're like rhyming differently with different songs over that.
sure.
So then when we created songs, they never sounded the same. It was the craziest thing. Then we got signed for that, and then when we were like working with Def Jam, and then they go, okay, we need you to do this and do this and do this and dress like this, and now we need a song like this, like this. I'm like, I don't sing and dance, bitch. I don't know who the fuck you talking. I'm from the Bronx, bro. What fuck this kid right here. I was pointing to my brother. He may look like a nerd or some shit. He will fuck you up in 2 seconds if you try to push him because of what we've been through. Like just crazy. So we never had the backing of. I mean, we got fired eventually, so we did it on our own, and everything we did, it was because we did it. And then anyone that we brought on board, we had this guy Dwayne. He was a publicist. He took us to a level, but in the true hip hop community didn't like us. They didn't know what to do with us. We were so white to them, right? Like we were the shock to the culture. We looked like wrestlers on stage. Dude, I had my hair pushed forward, short. I would so jacked out of my face. I would take my shirt off and then just walk around with a cordless mic, flexing on people. And then my brother,
Laugh, dude. It just
it's funny. They would say, we come to the show. It's really funny. So they would go, we come to the show, and it was like watching it was like rock infused or rap infused rock of some kind, but it was true hip hop. And then you guys look like fucking wrestlers, but you rap really good. You're like better than Beastie Boys, but you're not like really like a Wu-Tang because you're not gangster like that. But so there was this classification issue the entire time.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So we just started opening all kinds of acts. We would do shows where it's like a model runway. So
Sure.
we'd come out and do like 3 tracks, and then they would just pay us like a couple $100. We go to strip clubs and they would be packed, and the strip club would close and become the party. And then we would come out and do the show. Yeah, crazy. So in the iterations behind the scenes, I mean, I worked with Aerosmith in Florida as security, and I would see Steven Tyler every day for a couple of weeks, right? Like just the way we're chilling, he's just right there. So when I got to know him, he's like a personality. So he's just talking. Blah, 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 blah. I thought I'd be nervous around these guys. I was like, oh, my mother loves Aerosmith. I love Aerosmith. And he's like, your great grandmother loves Aerosmith. These guys been around forever. And I used to just stare at him, and he'd go, yeah. And I'd go, waka, 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 right? Like, and he'd go, dude, you don't belong on that side. Why do you do that to yourself? I go, I fucking love you guys. Everyone loves us, but you don't understand. You're the guy at the door. Why are you holding the fucking door? Why do you do this job and not the one I'm like, what I do? You can do it. You know that. And this was before rap. I was just personality heavy. He goes, you could make $1 million. He would tell me all this crazy shit. And, eventually I went on, and guys had to convince me, dude, you have the voice, just do it. And I bent when I heard, some of these rock beats that I was presented with, right? Like a slow grinding, like almost like an old Western feel, really slow, long draw, like it's almost high noon and you're going to pull a pistol or something. We'd bring across these weird feelings, and then dudes would hire us for their intros. We were in independent movie awards, and I'm not bragging. I'm trying to build a picture, because then I'm going to let you talk about shows you've done and everything. Like, I want people to know us a little bit. Bounced around everywhere. We were in the Black Independent Movie Awards for 2, 1 song in 2 movies, High Noon. And we were there with Billy D. Williams and this whole other cast and crew and The Sopranos in Pennsylvania. And we didn't know about it. So they invited us there to the Poconos festival thing. And they were like, we got you guys rooms, this, that, and the other thing. So when I mentioned this, everyone wanted to go. And then we showed up, and we were there, and they try to shut the show. There's an ordinance, 1 o'clock. They shut everything down no matter what. And Dirty D, our singer, threw a chair at the guy trying to shut the show down. We were like, whoa, the girl. And we were like, oh my God, she's drinking. Oh no. She was known to just start throwing punches and shit. She was an interesting girl. And they fucking stood around the booth and were like, perform the show. We were fucking here for this. And we crushed it for about 45 minutes. And we cried afterwards. We were being hugged by dudes from The Sopranos and shit. We were like, I don't know what's happening. Billy D. Williams was there like, yeah, man. I went up to him with I couldn't find a Colt 45. And then I had a 40 Old English. It was ice cold. I took the label off and then glued it, like stuck it backwards. And then I wrote Colt 45. I'm like, trying this. He's like, nah. That was great, though, what you did. I'm like, I fucking loved what we do, because my brother, he was like me. He's 7 years younger. He's a very thought-provoking kid, very mental guy. Would drive this bus with me. So there was a back and forth, but there was, instead of a music beef, we never had that. It kind of floated around a bit. We had people had no priorities with the music. The other 2 guys and the singer would just show up randomly, and after a while, it got a little crazy. Like they were acting like, yo, we're fucking stars, because things got out of hand when we got so big, and then one of them fell off, and the other one was like telling people we kicked him out. But he was like, I'm going to get a job. I want to be work at sanitation. So we were like, he was the young guy. So we were like, all right. But then to look save face, he was telling everyone all this crazy shit. I mean, we're all friends now. It came out in the end. But we played at Disney. We played at Universal. Then we went to Cancun. We played multiple shows there. I even saw a donkey show there, bro. I was like it took me into places I never thought. You know, the Limelight in New York City, LA Guns was on after us. Weird stuff. So I have a lot of this. I'm going to just end it with this. I have a lot of this on tape because people are like, oh, where is this stuff? My brother even said, where's our fucking, I went in the garage like over the summer, and there was a bin, and it just said The Heist. And I opened it, and it was everything we fucking did on fucking VHS. I'm like, I got all these tapes. I got to get all the tapes done. I got to do it so you guys could see me all buff out, like running around acting stupid. It's just funny. I'm not against it, man, because look where we are now. Now, you had told me some stuff about what you've done in your yummy career lifetime. Why don't you tell us some stuff that like really sticks out to you that you loved, that was part of your journey through the groups?
Well, I mean, honestly, it's like there's a few moments that stand out to me, energy wise, because the daily grind, like what it was is there was a camaraderie that was built with just we were a three-piece, mind you. We weren't a big act at all. We were bass, vocal, guitar, and drums, and that's it. And like I always represented my hip hop influences into our harder rock sound. So there was always like a few songs where, you know, I'd be coming in with a verse and then singing on top of that and stuff. And we still do that to this day. Spoiler alert. It's can't hear you.
Fucking button, man. So I wanted to make sure I wouldn't cut you off or nothing. I didn't even want you to hear because I'm breathing heavy too. I'm like, I didn't want to get that out there, but my mouth breather. All right, so you know what? People are loving it. I'm reading some of the chat stuff. Let's play it again, because I don't think some people heard the track. So we'll play this, and then we're going to work our way through the track. Yeah, come on. So what inspired you to do this track?
It was an alchemical infusion of some samples that I pulled. Like that's the other thing too. Like, so when the cool thing about this whole deal is like, since I broke off from like the group thing, like I've been having external hard drives and stuff and doing and recording and playing all on my own, like for years. Right. So then I've always been good at keeping the external hard drives, never knowing that ta-da, it would lead to where it's led now. So I was able to pull some samples together. Like, it's just really, I can't describe it, man. It's just really weird how each track was birthed, and then there was some ups and downs. And remember, the sound didn't take on the polished, heavy, big sound that it did until like what, a year ago, maybe. Like it was there, but it was like not there, like not.
Right up to towards release, bro. Like you give me the final track, and I'm like, that's it.
Well,
that's
like
the one.
That's when I tried that, like that little like where you drop the faders and you just start from that little trick that I just never implemented because I thought that I was releasing my Jedi spirit to like, I don't even know. It was like some ego driven bullshit that wasn't letting me like do that simple thing. And once I did, all this shit like made sense to me in that moment. That was just like, I'm like, oh, that I got it. I fucking got it now. And then I'm like, but wait, I got to go back to every single track and do this same thing, you know? And like you said, we've been doing this for a while. So as I've been writing, you know, like my head's down, I'm in the grind, doing my thing. People hit me up like, hey, what are you doing, man? Come kick it or whatever. I'm like, nope, I'm writing. So I've always been like, here, focus on what? I don't know. But you turn around, a couple years have passed and you've got like 20 some songs that are like polished gems now. And I think like Capacitor wasn't the name of the track to begin with either. Like I can't remember what I called it at the very beginning, but it was the last line. And it was funny because when I finally sent it to you with my verse on it, when you heard like when I wrote that last line of my verse, I was like, did I just make a fucking Back to the Future reference? And that's what you like. That's what you acknowledge that. That's the first thing you said to me. Like, you're like, what's up, Back to the Future? Or you said something to me to that effect. And I was like, yeah. So like, I'll say this, like in the beginning, having those like metaphors or those analogies was difficult. Like with the How We Do, that was the first thing I kind of sent over to you. And like putting that rhyme together was like super difficult because I was so out of practice. But as this has gone on, like
I've never recorded the same verses over like, let's say 3 years, let's say 3 years, so many times in different versions, and then didn't get to the music because of life. And then got back to the music. We lost the computers at 2 different times. We were dealing with some heavy family shit at times, you know. And this finished product, though, I sit and listen. When I used to do the heist, I used to love most of the stuff. Always waiting for a certain thing in the song. I'm listening to Us like, I don't know if it's me or just life and the music's, maybe it's just the way it's hitting me, but the whole thing, start to finish, is become this vibe. It's a fucking vibe. It's like here in the Bronx, you don't really want to be hanging out in the parks and stuff. So you drive around a lot, maybe park on a block, smoke a blunt. So you need like music that's not going to. We used to listen to Pete Rock and Seal Smooth, right? Like shit like that. And we used to feel so fucking good. And it was the vibe.
There you go.
Right? Jurassic 5.
There you
that
go.
was a little bit later on, but because we had started way back. But MC Cutter from Heist Click said, holy shit, it's like a new Jurassic 5, because he was one of the guys in the car. So now we don't ever talk, but if we see each other, we're like, hey, what's up? And he's hearing it online. So when I tell you, oh, there's dudes listening that have been in the box in the moment, they came through the fucking door opportunity 6 fucking times and know exactly what's going on. They're sitting back listening like, oh yeah, especially me. I'm a little bit of a knucklehead. It's just, it was part of it. You know, I was that guy. I was the angry face. Sunglasses, hat, always up to something. Always watching you, watching me. That was like the thing. So anyway, to Capacitor, when you dropped this song, I was just looking for the name. I have the name somewhere, but you said you don't remember what it was called. So I was looking for it, but I don't want to touch any more buttons. And my jaw dropped. I was like, oh, what is this? So when I fulfilled my part and it was coming together, it felt more like when Iron Man was in the cave and he built the arc reactor for the suit. It was like the first activation where it powered up the suit and it was like, oh, fly, boom, and he comes out of the cave. He just fucks everyone up and then he takes off. And then after that, as the movies progress, he's like, yeah, I'm pretty much the only guy in free energy. And he has the arc reactor under the building, which is where the war takes place over New York. So that's where my mind goes. And then it goes to the flux capacitor, time travel, all that stuff, because of part of all that. So being part of this has been just wonderful. It really fucking has. And the way the songs have come out, I have old school heads that are like, dude, who's this guy? Who is he? Is this your friend? I go, yeah, they used to sound good together. I like this. Now, I don't know if it's because we're all 40, right? And it's just toned down. I can tell you right now, it's better than these fucking mumble rappers and stuff, but I'm not here to compare and contrast with any other group. That's not what Kevin and I do. KG and I have agreed, like, there's enough for everyone's sound. So it's not a competition with anyone, but that's the big problem with people. And what I was saying earlier when I wasn't on was that you're good rapping into singing and then singing into rapping, whereas I'm better just rapping into doing the hook rap style back into rapping. and some just whatever. All right, so for all the listeners, we've dragged you through it, but we don't get to talk to you guys. Yeah. As Kevin, I mean, I do shows all the time. I've talked to a million people, and I've never brought Kev out. But you've always heard me talk about it. You heard the other 2 songs, which we're going to play in a little while. But the 3, the magic number, that was it for me. That cemented history, though. That's not like, oh, okay, now we're good. It cemented history. It was like, oh no, this is, as they would say here, Kyle Permanente, right? So let's share the screen. Let's see, is this your screen? No, that's the right screen right there. Bang. This is Capacitor, Sons of the Sun.
Check it out. Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Nobody is going to save you now.
Underneath the beat subliminals, truly what the fuck I call it what it is, man. Yo, what's weak in this flow? How long you gonna let them mess you up with this stuff? I'll make sure you understand every word that I say. We don't consent, straight the fuck up means it's not okay. When the time with you is up, so you better make way. I'll perpetuate the ignorance and be fab. I'm craving out the fam. Stay original shamans and ambassadors. Fucking with the layers, this is disruptors and the challenges. A system of the guy up on the break like oil calibers. Always feel the truth with no other parameters. With a judgment. Know when it's best to become passengers. Also when they take the helm and be sort of a balance of staying calm. When everyone around like there's a massacre. Gigawatts of time travel like a flux capacitor.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, of course, we're the mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock this shit out the park.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock this shit out the park.
Nobody is going to save you now. I can't see. I'm surrounded by dark. By consequence, my consciousness ignites the spark. Who am I? Do I even exist? This time I think I'll transform inside the matrix. Karmic tricks, release for the shift, then realize the lies, cause it all lies inside. You can't stop the truth when its time has arrived. This time is one, creators we rise. Separated we tried, I can't understand what's real. It's hard to feel, they modified the deal. The darkness isn't evil, but what's inside has eyes. But so do I, let's grow wings and fly. I'm inspired to try, despite the odds we die. 7 billion ways, this time we decided to stay. To set the stage as I glide through space. Like the Silver Surfer, I came here to ride the wave.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we're the mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock shit out the park.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock shit out the park.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock shit out the park.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock shit out the park.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark. Check it out.
Nobody is going to save you now.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Nobody is going to save you now.
Yo, that shit is sick. I'm like, oh my God. It's doing to me something that feels good everywhere. There's a freedom to doing the music you love. And when it comes from the heart, because I'm noticing something with our music, and we'll talk about this maybe a little bit. There's an overarching theme to what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Regardless of the topic of the song itself.
I think it's more so direct. I'm sorry to cut you off, but the sample, nobody's going to save you now.
That's the fucking best. I got nothing, bro.
Oops. Sorry.
My boys heard this and they were like, I was like, nobody's going to save you. And they were like, what the fuck? So I'm just, my hat's off to you, man, for making that sound go from the Bronx, my verse, to you with all the ideas or whatever comes through, and then taking it and making it all sound like we're, I don't know, maybe in one place doing it. It just sounds fucking good, man. I'm so pleased with the music. And I'm excited about it. You know, we're trying to, okay. So yes, the music is available for download pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more days before it's released it's like every few days it's released in more categories. So Capacitor just came out. So I'm sure you can find it Apple Music, Spotify. What other things? There's like
Amazon.
50 things. Amazon, so
whatever the hell that is. Yeah,
pretty much whatever you're using, just type in Sons of the Sun, just one word, right? And we should be there, literally. I remember somebody was playing on their PlayStation. Hello. And they were like, yo, Sons on the PlayStation. Dude, you're gonna be able to do shit like score a touchdown or do like some kind of weird play, right? Somebody's going to use the sample and do the, you know, I've seen it with my other group. I was in this kid's house and he was like showing off playing one of the football games. This was years ago. And then the song, one of our tracks came on and I was like, I know that song. That's not a bad song. They were like, that's you. And I'm like, oh, I'm so high. And then the kid was smiling. I put it on the game, but now we're there. You could purchase the game through there, download it into your system. You could use it for your VR. Like we're part of all those programs. Programs meaning distribution, putting you out there like that. Sons of the Sun, Capacitor. That was great, man. That was really good.
Yeah, and that sample is meant to go in line with what we practice, what we preach, right? We're in the present now, so nobody's going to save you now except yourself. That's what it means.
Yeah. Well, if you listen to us, I think the beat makes it a little darker than the other two tracks and stuff. So there's that overtone, but we're in there killing it. I'm literally talking about growing wings and flying out of the darkness with no problem because I'm the fucking creator. So right? Like nothing you're gonna do to me, right? So I get it, man. This is
that's like, so rather than sitting there waiting on the savior or whatever, it's you. So nobody's gonna save you now except you. That's what the sample is meant to represent.
That's like we're crazy. I have a heist click track. It's called Save Yourself, and it's on a Chris Cornell sample. And it's us doing not quite the way we're doing it because I'm ayahuasca blessed now. I didn't have any of that then. So I had this different approach to it.
Sure.
Where like, and the hook was, you gotta save yourself. You gotta save yourself. You gotta save yourself, just over and over, because people are always looking. Man, when you used to see it from the stage at like the glamour shows or something, where the runway shows or the car shows, so we'd be there and it almost looked like at Comic-Con. We were at Comic-Con 1 and 2. The fans would adore you in a certain way, and it's like, yo, you gotta come up a little more than that, right? Like you gotta save yourself, like pull yourself out of the crowd onto the stage like we did, which is now it's FearLess, and I'm in the comic doing my thing, and I turn the page, boom, KG shows up. Next episode, Brave and the Bold, with the two of us on the cover, and it's like, oh fuck, chapter fucking 33. Like the music returns, boom, and you go into it. It's very comic booky in my mind. It's fucking crazy. It's making me a little emotional. I've done so much, but this is making me feel good.
There it is.
It's beyond not rushed. I'm kind of embarrassed at how long it takes me sometimes, but I don't think that's a forever thing. That's something I work on. I'm just doing it from right here. So I'm in the apartment. It's hard sometimes, and whatever. I'm not gonna make excuses, but it's fucking awesome.
I give you shit. Yeah, I give you shit. Like in the beginning, though, I didn't. It was kind of very hands off. Like, here's this idea, and it was
you're awesome.
Super raw. Yeah, because I know like that's what led pressure and like stress related anything when it comes to musical creativity has always led. Yeah, you might pump out some good shit, but in the end, like it would be the end where there might be harboring some resentments towards one another. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this motherfucker always been rushing me and blah, 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 blah. So
right. Well, I think that plays out too on the track. I think the comfort with the music sounds great in both of us, to the point where it's like, oh, you could hear that they're definitely enjoying themselves doing their thing. I hear us at every pool party over the next couple of years. Things like barbecues. Back to because this style of music, everybody's like, oh, the future's here. Nobody wants to listen to 40-year-old rappers and stuff. And it's like, your style compared to what we're doing is completely different. Right. Well, and my agent used to say this to me. Anytime anybody asks you anything, you're 28.
Right.
And I'm like, what? I looked at him. I was in my 30s. And he's like, you're 28. He goes, look at my fucking face. You're 28. I go, okay, whatever. Nobody wants to see his fucking 50-year-old's poster on their wall. Don't be a dick. That's how they used to be, man. I was like, all right. And he's like, just because the 40-year-olds like you don't mean the 16-year-olds like you. I'm like, I don't want 16-year-old girls to like me. I don't do music for this shit. I don't do it to get laid. Like, I don't know why you're promoting me like this, but you don't understand. There's charts, age groups where you fit in. I go, can't we just make good music?
There it is.
And fit into whatever.
Right. And back to what you said, like, so we're definitely gonna date myself here. So our BPMs that we have for our tracks thus far, like, are from the years and the decade of music where I consider them like the golden age. And then I also see it like, so there was an abundance of creativity and awesome music. It didn't matter what genre you were listening to. It didn't matter what the fuck it was. Like, you turn on the radio and bam, like, you just get hit with whether it was hip hop, whether it was rock. There was just all these creative elements and different acts, different things doing, and that's when like the original like Lollapalooza was started, and it was a one-day festival where you could get a ticket for like $20 and then go get your mind blown for that day or whatever. Now it's turned into like a weekend deal that's $200. Whatever it is.
Nah, it's commercialized. It's why the same thing with Comic-Con and all these things. They're not doing it really. It's all virtual and stuff now. And besides the COVID thing, it's just too much. You commercialize it out. It's just lines and static in the mind.
Right. And that's what, like, so I took the BPMs, like, like I said, dating myself, but like that's why they align themselves in that decade of where I consider, like, so it's a deeper thought that I've had too. Like, so for all that good creativeness, awesomeness in every genre that was imploding and hitting our ears at one time, like, are you saying that it all just vanished because what you hear now is just, I mean, not, here we go again, like, not to compare, but it's, you can't even understand what half the guys are saying now if you're listening to rap or whatever. That's why the other line, in Capacitor is like, I'll make sure you understand every word that I say. Like, there was a time when there was an MC was just that. You had a story and you told that. And I think
a beginning, a middle, and a fucking ending to it too, with punchlines.
Right. Sure. And I think authenticity right now is what this fucking what this planet needs in entertainment wise. There's just so much hoopla, hoorah. Like, that's why from the jump, that I was kind of, you get into where you could take like a couple months to get something together, and it's not like we're shooting Hollywood movies back here or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It just, and then life happens on top of that. Like, what was it? For Live as It Gets, man. It was like, we were both down for the count, and there was like nothing to be done about it.
I fucked up, right? I got kicked off Facebook right before the fucking promotion started and the release. And I literally, it was like every other app knew that I was a douche. I'm telling you, I realized something. I sent, when the second song came out, a couple of my buddies called me from radio, I told you, and they do regular radio. So they're like, they do FM radio, actually. So they're like, yo, clean versions of the song. Let me hear them right now. Whatever. So I'm like, I sent them to you. And they're like, no, you didn't. I'm like, check your fucking messenger, bro. And they're like, yeah, you didn't send it to me. So I had sent it. I went and checked to everyone. So I was like, So naturally, I resent a little bit. One of the guys really liked it. He was like, get me clean version. I'll do something with it. But this day and age, I guess it's cool to be on FM radio, I guess. We're on every other station, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're on all the other stuff, and we're provided for. The music industry now is against us in terms of promotions, right? In terms of creativity and new sound. New sound meaning it's 2021. There's a bazillion groups you never heard of that can all play great fucking sounds and music that you would love to hear. And we fit in that mix just like everyone else does. And they should have the ability to get it into the hands of fans where the music is just being played, where you have an idea, which is why I do like the search engines and Spotify and stuff. Where they ask us behind the scenes, well, what do you sound like? And you know, to try to line you up better, or they'll like let us listen to it and we'll stick you in the category. I had guys sample us and not say anything, and then our song remarkably gets played like 100,000 times, and then you get like $40 for it on Spotify. But they're like, you're getting out there because on the back of the group that you sampled. I'm like, no, check this shit out. They sampled us. What? I'm like, I have that license. And they're like, okay, we can go for it because the promotion's where the money is, the money costs are. So right. I'm like, no, I'm not going to sue you for a couple of bucks and then not have a music career, because you're fucking beat when you go up against the system that way. You'll get paid out and then
you get played out.
Yeah, nobody's going to fuck with you at that point. But now is a different story. You know, I was taking a shit one day and Chance the Rapper hit me up on Twitter, right? And I was like,
how do you start it like that, dude?
He just started telling me, what's up? What's up, Frank? How you doing, bro? Great that you're alive. I was like, wait, what the fuck? So I'm like, that you, bro? He's like, yeah, it's me. I'm like, I got one question, bro. How do you do it? He goes, I talk to everyone. That's really how it was done. I literally run up on you. I'm like, here's my Twitter. Here's my handle. Here's a t-shirt. Here's this, do that. Here, if you want to support me like this, and then do shows and stand out front, be like, yo, I'm over here. So I got it, because I have a personality, not quite like his, but I do. When you give me a microphone, I'm unstoppable sometimes. So it's just, I've learned through career decisions how to go on stage and be that guy no matter what. Right? You'd be throwing up in the bathroom drunk or something, crazy shit going on, right? You took something and it hit you on stage and you're like, yo, what the fuck? The performance it never fails.
Absolutely.
I'm going to play, which one should we play? Live as it gets, because you mentioned it. Work our way backwards. Yeah,
sure. Yeah. For the one that for the track that didn't get properly promoted. Yeah, why not?
This is sweet. I got so drunk once at a show because they would bring us there so fucking early. Check-in was 6:00. I'm like, ain't nobody else here. And they're like, 6:00 is check-in, Frank. Come on. So I get there. And then they're like, okay, you checked in. You get out of here. I'm like, well, I'm 2.5 hours from my house. can't really fucking do anything now. I'm stuck here. And they're like, oh, you want a beer? That's
There
how
it
it would
is.
start.
Ding!
So we were at a battle of the bands, right? So the bands were mad at us because we weren't a band. We had a fucking CD that was played, and we'd go up on stage and just, it was the way it is, but the music was the music. So it had that rock edge. So we won, which was fucking awesome, but it got really crazy. The place was mob fucking packed, and the girl group that was against us was called Her, Her, and they all looked like Cyndi Lauper or some shit. They were really good, but they judged it before the end of their song. They said, fucking Heist Click wins, blah, 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 and right? So the music changed, and then everyone was like cheering. So I ran up on stage. I was so fucking drunk, dude. I was so happy the show was over. I couldn't stand up straight. I started taking my clothes off. So it's just something really funny that happened. I was like, it's so hot in here. Right? I love everybody here. I grabbed one of the girls. I kissed her on her head. I was having like a really fucking funny time. And everything just froze on my screen, but I'm going to keep talking. And then I took my pants off and I had boxers on. I kicked my shoes into the fucking crowd, and everyone was like right next to me going, do it, fucking do it. And I went to go pull my underwear down, and everyone tackled me, and they were like, no. That was the one stupid thing I did on stage, I think, but that was so long ago. That was just one of those fucking moments where you're like, dude, I am really fucked up. I should have not drank tonight at all. I used to like to drink one beer and a shot on stage, and then keep a beer there and a water, because the show was almost an hour sometimes, and we would go hard. They were like, yo, watching you guys were like watching WWE Raw Monday nights when The Rock and Stone Cold were fighting. And like DX finally shows up with Shawn Michaels, and everyone, any wrestling fan that knows that when they show up and all those guys start fighting, it was like the craziest fucking time in wrestling. And you're just like, wow, this is amazing. And it was funny too. We went to a book signing for Kurt Angle, side note. And my brother is like, oh, we're on our way to the show. It was right before 9/11. And we had his book, and we just wanted, and he just grabbed my brother and like fucking pulled us over. He was like, yeah, whatever. And he went on to fight Brock Lesnar and Stone Cold and beat everyone's ass. He was on like the Olympic champion USA roll right before 9/11. And at his height, we met him at our height at the book signing. And then that night went and did the show, and he signed the books. Have a great fucking show, guys, whatever. And then people were comparing us to those guys. And we just found it weird. They're like, it's personality. It's not, none of you are built like wrestlers. Obviously, Frank's the built one, but he's only 5'8". So it was just these weird fucking personality traits, bro. Bigger than life.
Sure.
Let's load this shit up over here. So what is your Live as It Gets lead in?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know? This is KG fucking jamming out. The track is called Live as It Gets. We are Sons of the Sun. Kev's awesome. Frank's awesome. I'm going to mute his mic again so there's no feedback as we go through this. Make sure I unmute him. All right. This is Live as It Gets, Sons of the Suns. Check it out.
Vibes we deflect. Most high with us in defect. Really, what else would you expect? Don't trip me if we get to connect. Unwind your mind and just reflect. Feel their effect. We got enough to get everyone wrecked. 1, 2, mic check.
That's what was taking this law. Yeah, the dripping straight fire, so there's no chance at all. Yes, y'all cut through the layers with a hacksaw. Deceptions and manipulations, that's your fatal flaw. Just a matter of time because I know we're the all. These doses upgrades as we here standing tall. The family will catch me if I should never fall. Cause we're in it till we win it, that means the long haul. Worldwide like hypertext, triple protocol. Standing here in and out, nobody ain't wrong. I'm meant to put you forward in the way we let it all. Consciousness in the balance, so it's more than just a brawl. easy rise up and crush like a ball. Find the universe, as live as it gets. Yeah, we focus and we feel, and this is the mindset. And that's the one, get the whole team, and now you can bet. We recognize our true power, not your marionettes. Yo, find the universe, as live as it gets. Yeah, we focus and we feel, and this is the mindset. And that's the one, get the whole team, and now you can bet. We recognize our true power, not your marionettes. Yo, find the universe, as live as it gets. Yeah, we focus and we feel, and this is the mindset. And that's the one, get the whole team, and now you can bet. We recognize our true power, not your marionettes. Yo, find the universe, as live as it gets. Yeah, we focus and we feel, and this is the mindset. And that's the one, get the whole team, and now you can bet. We recognize our true power, not your marionettes. Yo, travel at magnificent speeds around the universe. Travel at magnificent speeds around the universe.
You have the right to engage. Here's some tools of the trade. Source, meditation, hip-hop, and sage. You have the right to resist fake gods and tricks. Designed to divide, they live in between the lines. Enjoy the ride, eyes open this time. This world's alive, within worlds collide. Incoming transmission, activate the tribe. As your ego dies, now sending you positive vibes. I put up a fight, I purge, I cry. For the first time tonight, it just feels right. Create as we rise, we anchor the light. Inside of a heist that's set inside of a heist. It's a tribe we rise, sun rays to sunrise. I am, we are the spark of life. Surprise, turns out it's been us the whole time. See the all in you because it's all inside.
As live as it gets. Yeah, we focus and we feel, and this is the mindset. And that's the one, get the whole team, and now you can bet. We recognize our true power, not your marionettes. Yo, find the universe, as live as it gets. Yeah, we focus and we feel, and this is the mindset. And that's the one, get the whole team, and now you can bet. We recognize our true power, not your marionettes. Yo, find the universe, as live as it gets. Yeah, we focus and we feel, and this is the mindset. And that's the one, get the whole team, and now you can bet. We recognize our true power, not your marionettes. Yo, find the universe, as live as it gets. Yeah, we focus and we feel, and this is the mindset. And that's the one, get the whole team, and now you can bet. We recognize our true power, not your marionettes. Yo.
Around the universe, as live as it gets.
All right, I remembered to unmute, but I'm going to do it right now. Ha ha ha. Gotcha. There you go. Oh, yeah. G-Hog in the house. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. That is Live as It Gets by Sons of the Sun. That would be KG and myself. Something we've been putting together for a long time. A long time. I looked in my notes. And the notes go back, man. They go back, and there's ideas everywhere. I kept every fucking idea ever. So I'm like, this is going to be just one of the greatest rides. What is this, when you hear this song, what does it do for you?
Like
how does it move you? Like, what do you feel? What does it do when you hear this? Or are you just proud? Ha ha, this is great.
Well, I mean, there's definitely some of that, because like I said, for a very long time, like, it was there, the ideas were there, but there was this quality just wasn't with the echelon as like you would hear coming out of your major labels and stuff like that. And so like that was always like, what did we say? When we started this, we said what? No pressure and no regrets, right?
Yeah.
So like that was always a big thing when there was demos or what have you released in the past. There was always like, I would hear something that that was done that you sit back and you're like, oh fuck, I went like a little, if I would have done this instead of that or whatever, like it could have been epic or whatever. There was regret. So that was the whole idea from the jump about not having that. So each each song, there is that pride there, and I think it's like I've heard over and over, like you take, well, the smart acts anyway, they'll have like 100 songs, right? And they'll just cherry pick their best ones and then formulate down from there. And that's basically what you'll hear. Like for us, I think every single track has its own merit and stands on its own. And that's not from like cherry picking. It's just what fucking happened, and why that is, I don't know. Like you were saying, well, obviously, yeah, I think maturity has a lot to do with it, because the way my mind works now and who I am, like personality wise, is definitely not anything that I could have written or been focused on in the past. Definitely not. I wasn't even in that like same stratosphere. Like there were, you know what I'm saying? So there's this thing that happened where I think it wasn't too long after, like I knew that in some way, shape, or form, like it was gonna be you and me doing what we do. And each song, like I've tried to say, we're trying to create that nostalgia, like you were talking about Pete Rock's, just like every time, like I've played or I've sent Easter eggs out in messengers, you know, like to people that have either like supported me since back in the day, from like Illogic or what, like, so I drop Easter eggs, and each person that hears our material has a different thing that they hear, but it does take them back, transports them back to when times were simpler. There wasn't as much stress. Things were good, that kind of deal.
There was good times.
Exactly.
There was solid, straight good times during those years, man. Ooh.
That's the whole idea. That was my whole like idea behind, and then it just started working like one after the other. Like we would just roll through them, you know what I'm saying? And then like you turn around, you look down, and you have this whole body of work. And now because of 3D, going on spiritual note right here real quick, like we just have to like leak it out track by track when it's actually all done already.
Yeah. There's a whole.
We just have to
the way the songs came out. That was something I wanted to say. Like, dude, like you would think. So for a second, I was like, when I listened to the 3, I'm like, okay, yo, this is a solid 3. If we were introducing ourselves, which we are, and then I was worried because it's like back to back. Right, it is a little formulaic, but when I look at what's coming, it was almost like done on purpose. Like we're introducing each other. It's us. Hello, this is my voice. This is his voice. This is us together.
Right.
And now, like just whoa, it's gonna take off into these crazy awesome. So it's funny. I like watching my brother's face when he hears the beats. The fuck is this? This is fantastic. I go, dude, you have no fucking idea. I think it brings everyone to a moment or the vibration. Maybe it's what we're putting into it on top of the sounds that are actually in the track themselves. Like the whole push is that of the Big Easy, but also like we get our shadow work done. There's like a version of us in there. Like we don't fuck around at all. Like we've had it with the fuck around. We're just doing what we want to do. But then there's that overarching spiritual thing that takes place in there, like the stage drama of the spiritual show is in our music, right? Everything from, I mean, you inspired me with that, with the Around the Universe, right? You're like, it's not in my verse. I go, it's in your verse. You fucking said it, right? And then I'm like, that's it right there. That's it. That was inspiring me. You didn't even know it. And in so many fucking ways, dude. So many ways. Like the things that you would find, like, man, that's not really overly relevant, but it's cool. There's stuff inside of that. When viewed as a whole, you might miss it, but that was my inspiration to be like, oh, this motherfucker. Like, there's no way I'm not gonna be part of this. It's just, it's really good, man. It's fun. And it brings me back to barbecues here in New York before the beef used to happen. We used to have like one drunk guy that would fuck around. We have to throw him out. And then later in life, it got crazy. We all grew up and people went nuts. But it was when the good part happened. But that's just part of it. We're not dialing it back. There's this present fucking thing that's in the music.
Right. So I think the nostalgia that's in there, and that's why I drop, we drop the samples that are in there. Specifically, Capacitor is definitely the one. Like, if you don't know who that voice is, you've been asleep. You slept. Like, but it's all those tunes that made me feel something back in those days also. But the other thing that we've taken on is like trying to get out there to as many people as we can to assist them in waking the fuck up, basically, like whatever that means for them. Not taking a political ideology, not doing this or that, like just like the samples all say, like, nobody's going to save you now. Like it's all within here. And I think we mention it quite, like it starts to become like a creative Rubik's Cube, if you will. Like how many different ways can a message be said, all bringing it back to the same thing? Like all, it's not about you. It's not about you or I. It's about you, them.
Yeah. I was going to say the verses are pretty fucking inspiring to me. They're very uplifting to me. That's my take on it. I'm like, oh yeah, I can dig this. I could get behind it. It makes me feel good. The hooks are great. Everything's good. So hearing that puts it into a different thing of what we're used to from being bombarded on the radio, which for me, I felt like outside of like being an ayahuasca guy now, and then now it's going to encompass all my fucking verses and everything I say is going to be ayahuasca included. I didn't know if I wanted to do that because I'll get labeled that guy. However, it's coming out way differently than that thought of worry. The music doesn't imply that at any point to where you'd be like, oh, this motherfucker is just some ayahuasca guy. It doesn't come off to even me like that because I'm my biggest judge, right? Sure. So I'm like, if I'm gonna come off stupid, I'm not gonna do this. Like my internal rock star is like, if you even think of doing something like that, try singing that, I'm gonna punch you right in the, and
exactly.
But do this, and it's like, oh, I didn't know you can do that. See, we bring the styles together, and you, futurely speaking, coming out relatively soon, you're going to hear all the different styles with the rock infusions and everything. But we're true hip hoppers, so our first track that we did, the first version of that song, I gotta bring it up. So I'm not going to play the first version, but I played that first fucking version of how we do, to a hip hop head that not only knows his shit. I won't even talk. I can't talk about him, right? So he was sitting here and he was like, "Yo, is that your new song?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "That's what you should be doing all the time. That was great." He's like, "Could you play it again?" And I'm like, "What?" This guy never gave me a fucking compliment ever until that moment. From that moment, I've never gotten anything less than complimented by him, which is ridiculous because now we're on multiple songs. And then he's been here a bunch of fucking times. And then, I mean, we're older now. He does other things. So he's like, "What's the new song coming?" So I'll play the beat and then do my verse for him or something now because it's not totally laid out. And he'll be like, "This shit is fucking crazy." And I'm like, "Okay, you're feeling it." He's like, "Yeah." So I go, "Well, how do you judge it?" Because there's dudes like Eminem and Tom McDonald and then all the rap groups you've ever heard of and everything. But when I work with Sons of the Sun, I feel like we just do Sons of the Sun stuff, whatever that is, and take it or leave it. The message is there. So I think we make that message, which could come across really annoying sometimes, frustrating to people that have no clue what you're talking about. This guy's talking about waking up and growing wings. I don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, that guy's going to be there and he's going to go, "Dude, Little Easy is my jam. Fuck this guy." Right. And then there's going to be people that are like, "Yo, check this out." And I'd rather be played not through force or manipulation of any kind behind the music or within the music, and just make the music we like. And then if you like it, that's fucking really cool. And I hope you enjoy it. And then we can just keep bringing that to you, that vibe that makes you feel good.
Right.
You know,
I like, and that was another thing that, you know, I think that we stated, as long as we leave, whether the ship lands over top of us and we go or whatever, if we leave our imprint or this music, entertainment, whatever the hell, if we leave it better than we found it, then we're doing the other part of what we're here like too. And that was the other, to have our message but not come across like browbeating, because I've seen that way, and that way never works either. Like you were just saying, never force our like manipulation, like
yeah, even I don't even want to sing wake up, motherfucker, wake up. Like, I don't really want to do that kind of stuff no more. You're not waking up, you got to save yourself. Like, I'm done with that version of me, because I feel like I'm begging you to hear me, to tell you to wake up, and you're not hearing me. There's just create a good vibe.
Well, that's
mix it.
That's the, I mean, you can't polish a turd, right? So like, if the tracks aren't there, if the music isn't there to like create that vibe to begin with, then you just fall out. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you're saying or how you're saying it. If you don't grab that person, like, I mean, it's even shorter now. I remember like when I was starting out, it was like within the first 30 seconds, that was the whole deal. Like, but I think it's even shorter now as attention spans have gone down, you know, so like
that long form conversation like this has become the new thing. Sure. Right. So we're hitting them with the regular edge song, right? No, it's not really more than 4 minutes at any time. And it's usually like 3 minutes. We're hook heavy, so it's good. It's always like it has that anthem touch to it and stuff.
Sure.
And then so who was just saying it? Lynn's, my son's generation could really use these type of vibes. When I was younger and I was down in Wildwood in New Jersey, you're on the boardwalk, and the boardwalk's 3 miles. And every mile there's a piece of the boardwalk that goes out with rides on it. And then all along the walk is all kinds of music blasting and playing. During that time, and I'll go back to Pete Rock and CL Smooth. They were pumping that and Tribe and all that. They weren't pumping anything with the N-word being blasted in your face. There was a vibe there. People were hooking up, hanging out, talking to each other,
Absolutely.
smoking fucking weed, talking to each other, holding hands, enjoying each other's company. They weren't looking to fucking, it was like a smooth way to meet someone and get down rather than, yo, let's fuck, look at me, I'm naked. And I don't mean to, I hate being so rude and disgusting, but right now it's like, look at my fucking cooch. You got to see how wet it you make it. And you're like, that's the song? I get it. There's a place for it, but that's the one, number one, right? Like what? Like they're promoting all this whack stuff. So you have to catch a vibe that's presented to you because we're stuck in a position because of the promotion tools and all that, where it's got to be grassroots. But at the same time, we have the ability to do other things like go live and speak to people and meet them and go word of mouth and talk to them about it and be like, hey, we do a show, we do this, we do, this goes on. So that creates a fucking vibe within itself. And the music already has that vibe. It's attached to it. So when you hear it, I want you to have a summer vacation where you're like, oh, that song was playing during the vacation. And that was like when I was dancing with that person. I met my twin flame and the jam was on. We were all dancing or having a good time during the day on the beach, smoking weed, hanging out. Everything was cool, right? Like you remember those days and those moments. You really do. I had summers where I had these moments that I'll never forget. And there was a lot of them and the music was attached to it. But now I'm going back to when Bon Jovi came out. So, right, like you're like, wait, when? And it's like, that's where it started for me at that level. It was really Kiss. Now I'm showing my age, but there were those moments, even with those bands and those acts. There was a hair band movement that was so good. It was so good before it got out of control. It was already a little weird, but
if you're halfway there, man, living on a prayer.
Yo, they're still doing great too, and they changed their style every album after they did their commercial shit and everything. Shit. But we never say goodbye to these things. We just never say goodbye. Anyway, no, but those songs would play on the beach, and there was just, dude, there was like a fucking million people there. They're just people as far as your eye can see. Anyone that was along the East Coast in the 70s and 80s know exactly what I'm talking about. A day at the beach meant. We go out to Jones Beach. They'd be pumping music, playing music in the fucking car ride. Now you have it in a motorcycle and your Bluetooth, and you go for your walks and your runs, and you have it in your iPods and iPhones, and everything is just fucking plugged into your ears with your Androids and all your different earbud devices. This is the time where, though, the music like ours creeps back in. Because of word of mouth, because of maybe shows again like One Day Lollapaloozas. I was at the Dysfunctional Family Picnic. I had the greatest day of my life. I thought it was great. I'm glad it was only one day. I saw everyone I wanted to see. I met everyone I wanted to see. And then went home and was like, wow, that was great. I would love to be part of something like this one day. I saw Chris Cornell when he was good on stage. Because he went from whack, the worst thing you've ever seen. Alice in Chains would open and they'd be the greatest. Then Soundgarden would go on and suck terribly. And then Guns N' Roses. And I was like, oh, what's happening? And then one day Chris Cornell came out at, I think it was a Lollapalooza. It was like them, Wu-Tang, Rage Against the Machine, Metallica. It was the most insane lineup I was ever part of witnessing, and I was in the front, the very fucking front. As a matter of fact, me and this giant guy threw my brother on stage twice, and he hit Chris Cornell once, and Chris played guitar in his face and screamed, yeah, like raw, and then he jumped back in the crowd. It was just crazy nights, but those vibes aren't there now.
Right.
They're gone because there's no replacement. There's wet ass pussy. And pop your pills and Xanax and do this stupid shit, right? And now you're starting to see other characters come out. They're leaking through that are just really good rappers. You know, there's a guy, Harry Mack. I watch some of his stuff. The guy freestyles. He puts it fucking down every time. And then I watched a whole bunch of his back stuff, and he got on Ellen once, and she was like, so I could just randomly pull cards and you'll just rap about it. He's like, yeah, he can just keep going. And he's fucking really good. I was like, yo, this guy just makes songs constantly, nonstop. And she pulled fucking pizza, triangle, this, that. I was like, oh, it was pyramid, pizza, something else. And he was just, yeah, he was just, she pulled these cards out and it was just said it and had like a little picture on it. And he just kept like rhyming, and she just kept pulling and pulling. And she's like, well, I didn't show you any of this before. And he's like, nah, you watch his show. He's a regular dude. He never got famous. He teaches people how to freestyle now and shit. It's crazy. And I'm like, how does nobody know about this guy? He's better than everyone, right? He throws down some really good shit. And he has really good vibes. Why doesn't this ever get out there? And I don't know if it's because I hit a certain age bracket, or maybe the sound is demonstrated on my ear differently because I'm not listening to Metallica or something anymore. I'm not raging against the machine, right? I'm above the machine, right? What you think is the machine, I see as the hologram, and I am the whole other thing outside of the hologram, inside the hologram, going, wake the fuck up, dun 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 dun. Let's smoke some weed and get through this shit, right? So that yeah. I had, yeah, I don't want to hold this up on air, but I had like an ass baggie with the whole bottom of the barrel of mushrooms. And right before we started doing the show, I was like, oh fuck. I just licked my finger and started sticking it in and going, and I was laughing at him and everything. It kind of hit me a while ago, but on day 15, I feel fantastic, better than I've ever felt in my life. You know, wait, hold on. Lynn's is right. Liquid Bloom. God, there's a whole bunch of guys I want to talk about right now. They're on the FearLess playlist on the YouTube page that brought me out of what would be music today, or at the time. I was like, there's nothing to. I was on tour with Killer Bees and stuff. And with Born Divine and shit, and I'm like, this is over when I get off this tour. It's dead out here unless you're doing that other stuff, and it sucks. Everyone's tense, holding up the wall. No one's moving or feeling good about things. Nobody's rapping about anything good. Dudes could stand there on stage and go, oh my God, did you see him? This is awesome. It's almost like, how is anyone liking this? And they're getting people at their shows to buy tickets to do all this. Well, from behind the scenes, you see the rituals take place. So there's like a whole other thing occurring. So it's like, when you get down with it, we fund it for you. And then keep you locked and looped into the system. The more money you want to make, the more you got to do. Right. Whatever that means. I don't even want to get into that tonight. But I miss the metal scene too. I miss all the scenes. I remember battling in the Bronx and I didn't do this. I saw people do it before Big E, before all that stuff. You'd be in the park and dudes would just be like, a hip hop, you know, my name is fucking Frank. I go right to get the money at the bank. That, right? You're just like, what the fuck? But at the time, like, I was making jokes to Paula yesterday. I was like, I was around before, you know, when you make fun of someone here, they call it snapping. They used to call it, I'm snapping on you. When Your Mama came out, okay, and Aw Snap came out, right? Or, oh, your shit is whack. That was like the craziest thing you could say to someone.
I got to use the bathroom. Get that.
All right, check it out. You go use the bathroom. I'm going to play Sons of the Sun. Yeah, hold on. How do you not love us? All right, so when this was given to me, this project, I'm gonna say this while he's there. I'll bring me on here. This is the project. This is the song that made me say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this with Kev. I'm gonna work with him. KG's awesome. He's an awesome spirit. He's a great guy. We're all really stressed from working with shitty people at times, but I don't see anything I've done as a failure. Although the stress levels were always so fucking high, and everybody's always like this, and there's drinking and girls and weird stuff going on, but we didn't partake in a lot of the dark shit at all because we always had girlfriends and there was always problems. They would be yelling at us. Then we got to go home. It's like the show's today, and then I got a month before the next 3 shows. So you got to live a life normal and then convince everyone you're not doing this to get laid and everything. And I'm like, we just want to make good music. And then Kev was like, introduced himself, said, yo, man, I have this idea here. Check it out. And the verse came out of me like I was eating salad for a week. It was perfect. Like a perfect system. Oh, you're back?
Yeah.
All right, well, check it out. This is Sons of the Suns, How We Do, the official first track that we did together. I'm going to mute Kev.
Ok, parfait. What's good, fam? KG and Frankie FearLess in your area. Sons of the sun from another dimension with the intention of shedding light on low frequency prevention. Not to mention it's just how we do. I'm here representing like I've always been. I make magic or wreak havoc with the click of this pen. Thing that's problematic's when the light becomes dead. But with a foot on the gas, we've been accelerating. With your head already bobbing, you digging the virus, and we never break a band when helping peeps and sin. We never spin out of control no matter what our position. Having mantras on the ready, fuel the verbal ammunition. Cause I was never supposed to be spitting this verse in the grimy, gritty city. I was going for worse. I had no one their store, but then I quickly reversed. Now I keep up with fan from across the universe. Cause I got up, got back with no fucking chit chat. When death smiled, I burned back with a light sword and a bitch smack. Switched up my format, quit being a doormat. Here spitting pure facts that raw power yours at.
That's how we do, staying rolling uncut. It's like
and when the family come together, all the portals open up. It's like you know what time it is. And now to close it out, Frank, get up on the mic and tell them what you all about.
yo, light sword practice with friends abroad. We're getting bored, looks like it's time for more. Rush the floor, all my angels watch the door. About to turn my consciousness into something raw. Feel me scream, trying to get in between. Things around me is still not what they seem. Talk is cheap, watch it when you cross my street. Well, I mean the choice is yours, domain or cream. My team's full steam, no matter what you need. Like beans about to break out upon the scene. They came and paid a visit to me in my dream. They said, this is me, get up off your knees. And I need something to drink cause I'm about to faint into the universe because I'm feeling great. The shroom's taking me up into a different place. My name is Frankie FearLess and I come from space. That's how we do, staying rolling uncut. It's like
and when the family come together, all the portals open up. It's like
that's how we do, staying rolling uncut. It's like
and when the family come together, all the portals open up. It's like
Oh my goodness. That one just sets it off.
That shit was fun as fuck. That shit, like, just it was going one way. I'd say the chorus was one way, and then like even your shit changed up. Like there was one way you were saying it, there was one way you did it to begin with, and then you came back, and then you did it another way, and then I was like, okay.
I couldn't remember the first way I did it. That's why I did it like that. And I felt like everything fell into play perfectly. I was like, whoa, what the fuck, man? I was having so much fun. And what sets it off is that I've had people in the house and they walk through and they go, God. They do that all the time now. It's so funny. Everyone does it. And I fucking laugh. My mother was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, yeah, you'll have
what I'm saying, like that that's me. Like
I know what it is, but to explain it to a 69-year-old is a waste.
That's
I'm
me,
like,
just like, and then I dropped the pitch on like what I was saying, but like all I'm saying is gone. I'm saying like gone. That's what I'm saying, like GONE, like gone. But like however like that shit's
that's
awesome.
like a fucking like Eddie Vedder has lyrics like that, right? Where you like, I think I'm saying this correctly, and it's like, nah, you just gotta let go and be like, no. that's what everyone's been fucking doing. Ellen walked by me and did it, and I was like,
that's
like,
awesome,
she just
man.
came through the house one day and did that, and then everyone looked at it. It was just fucking great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like so it, whatever personal meaning it takes on, like I don't care what, like that's awesome. Like
so to get that one little thing on the hook with me, I had to give you an entire track of me doing that behind the track. I didn't know what to do with that idea. Remember, right at the end?
Yeah.
Put it on the hook. And I was like, that's what I couldn't hear it in my head where it goes. I was like, he's a producer. He'll understand this.
I got you.
Yeah. You don't need to do it on the whole thing. See, less is more. And I've said that a million times. We're not oversaturating either. We seem to know when there's too much and backing off, or if there's too little, it needs more. We seem to be really good at that. I found like the next track that we're doing, on the hook, there was those spots that I was like, oh, I'm going to rap on that. I'm going to put something there. I actually wrote a whole bunch of stuff and realized I way overwrote. It should just be like, oh, like less is more. So you pick the fat out of that. You're like, get it out. And went down to 2 lines. And I was like, oh, that's much better. Then it could just repeat. I don't have to say it 50 fucking times. You just repeat it. It's just funny how we work.
Good. That's good too. Like if that groove, I know what track you're talking about. It's funny. I was having this conversation yesterday, as a matter of fact, about that song in particular. Like I was like, so I'm a big proponent of like not being one trick ponies. You know what I mean? Like, we have this one style, like, rah, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I wanted to diversify our portfolio, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? To like show the aspects, but really in a hip hop track where I was pushing my boundaries was, instead of doing what you've heard so far, is like where I'm singing for the chorus instead of, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like a hook.
Like that was, I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, I did that, and then I sent that to you, and I'm like, by the way, you know, if this licks balls, you need
Yeah. If we're gonna scrap an idea, you gotta say it up front. You gotta be up front. Be like, nah, that's not gonna work. Or yeah, that we could work with that.
Exactly. So, but
They were
so
coming out of the box for sure.
right, but that's so far like what's worked best and what's kept us in tune. Like our sound is just staying right here, like right here instead of here. And like so far, so good. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that'll carry us the way. Like there's none other. There's no other as far as I'm concerned when it comes to that. Like a lot of times in the past, like I've written from the head. Sure, like I have that mind state of like, you know, hey, don't make songs 7 minutes long unless you're fucking Tool. Or like, you know what I'm saying? Or keep it in the box, like make, and then what can we say? It just, I don't know, man. It's all worked out to be in that like 4 to 4.5 minute bracket of sometimes maybe like 3.5 to 4.5. And I think like the staples really, like if it packs that punch in that time frame, that's where it's at. Like I haven't felt the need that we need to go any length beyond that without it being start sounding redundant. You know what I mean? Because
no, the creations are hand over fist, completely different each one, but still in this weird mold with the two of us. I can't like it's there. The formula doesn't repeat itself functionally throughout all the songs. It's just funny how the first 3 came out, and then now all of these are just, they're not like the first 3, but they are, though. They sound like us. You're like, oh yeah, this is the vibe, this is the feel, but it's more. It's a little expanded on. It's not just rap or hip hop. It's you singing. There's rock qualities, electronic qualities, funk, everything, fucking everything, bro. This is what I love about it. I hear so much shit. When I went solo for a little bit, I did 2 tracks. One was kind of like hip hop singing, kind of. It was more, I can't even explain it. And the other one was straight, like the style I would attribute, like what's happening with us was happening with me on that song. That it was called Come Alive, and it was me right before ayahuasca, when I was in the full down, but Frank Castle, was up really high, but I was fucked up. I was having some, and then the song came out and it was electronic, hip hop, rock, all included in, with me singing everything, hit notes perfectly. The beat was like grandfathered to me and signed off to me. I was like, this is fucking, it's like meant to be. And then I found it and then could never catch it again. I have all this material that is worth it, but I never, I always looked for that other thing. And then I started hearing it here.
Yeah.
You, I was like, oh, he's fucking, wow, this is, and then it just kept going and going. I have 16 tracks in here that we need to fucking work on. We got 3 released already, and then we got more coming. I'm like, we got crazy stuff, and each one is a banger. So 50 Cent said some shit once that pissed me off, but I flipped it with you. And I think we're gonna do something pretty interesting here. So he was like, I don't write albums, I write hit songs, one after another after another. I do singles, and then I just release the album. That's it. So I'm not writing. They were making fun of at the time things like this is an example, and if you don't know what Freebird is, go type that shit in and into YouTube and fucking listen to it. The albums would make a solid idea, a cohesive thought, an adventure, a novel with chapters, would create this passage of through things. A lot of bands put a lot into that. And then that became ridiculous. Somehow it became ridiculous. But I told Kev this, what 50 said, and I was like, it really pissed me off because I was from that era. But people would strive to do that and over strive and not meet the mark, realizing that 50 has money behind him. So this is why they can do what they're doing. You can do something your style, which could be different or similar, and succeed and get money behind you, but don't try to be him. Don't try to be 50. You're not going to do it. It's set up so you're not going to, right? You're always going to war with the lyrics and yeah, fuck this one, yeah, and and then popping stuff in clubs. I've been in clubs. I played the biggest spots. I still don't know what that is. I can't afford that shit, right? And it doesn't sound like a good time to me. I've seen it and it doesn't look right. But what he does do is rock a crowd in a fucking club. You go in the club and it's playing and you're having a good time, having some drinks, and want to dance with someone, and that comes on and you're in the party, you want to fucking go for it. So I was like, yo, why don't we just take his theory of this just create singles like one after another? But I think our singles are gonna, as we release them, are gonna tell the story as if it was the album. Because if I release the album with Kevin, we feel this day and age it gets swept under the table. It hears 16 songs. Oh, great. 2 weeks later, you'd never heard of us again.
Right.
Or do we give you a banger every couple of months or some shit? Just keep dropping them. Make one, put it out. We like this one. This one's good. All systems clear. It's a go. Launch. Right? Look, it seems to work better with today's entertainment too, and attention span. And then it leaves us always being there. We're never not there for you to view or to listen to. Whatever the new track is, whatever the last track was. But if you look back, there's been one all the time. So 3 years in, there's going to be albums worth of material that's been released over that time. So you'll have always had a presence in someone's life over the course of years, instead of like every year or two dropping an album and putting all this time, effort, and money behind it. And you're like, oh my gosh, when you obviously see we're doing this in our houses and made little studio spots, and we're just fucking doing our thing, man. We're nowhere near each other. I'm in the Bronx, right? So thank you for everyone for tuning in tonight. We love you so much, Fearless family, and everyone else out there. Willow, by the way, shout outs to Willow. You're awesome. I love you. We love you. And yes, thinking outside the box. To do amazing things, you just got to do it.
Yeah, I think that was like, well, I just kind of lost my train of thought there. What's considered a microdose?
Oh, shit. You did what did you do? Just stuff your face? Is that how many did you put in your mouth tonight? It tickled me before, like, woo, and then it kind of was like, nah, we're gonna talk tonight.
Yeah, the pictures that we took from
You're looking at our picture?
Those stupid those pictures like from last night, man. No, I'm talking about the ones that you sent me in Messenger where you're like
oh yeah. I haven't shown those to anyone yet. I haven't I told Ellen the story of how that happened, but the other night it was just funny what had happened. Those pictures are actually me and the cat Oscar was feeling down, and then he jumped into my lap when I started smoking. We smoke together. It's like we hang out. He fucking loves it. So he looks down in one of the pictures, and then I'm like in one of the pictures, and then I don't know if I sent you the one of him smiling. I have a picture of Oscar smiling. I was like, oh no, how did that? Like he was like, I'm like, oh no, I got one of those amazing photos of me and the cat.
Yeah, it's I mean that was Yeah, that actually that was from last night. So we were around actually about 24 hours ago. We all kind of went in.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah. And then it was like as it was kicked in, like you sent me this image, and then I took a stupid image of myself and sent it back to you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and you responded with wizards. That's
yeah.
that's how you responded. Like that shit's awesome.
Dude, we gotta have fun with this, man. You have to have fun. If you're not down for that, I don't know if you're gonna like the future, because we're gonna go through some dark times and then it's gonna go straight up. And those that can't hang with that good shit, that good vibe, you're gonna be whack. So just ride the wave like the Silver Surfer, you know what I'm saying? Come in and take the energy and ride. Dude, I'm so happy that we're gonna do this, or well, we've been doing it, but like over time. Like
that's what I was trying. Thank you. Sorry to cut you off. It was and there it goes again. Holy shit.
Time.
I'll just probably damn, dude.
So it's hit you hard, huh?
That's a good strain right there.
Yeah, man. So which one was it?
The Amazonians.
Oh, you're fucking doing good. I did I don't know. Oh, that's a mix of all of them. Yeah. So I'm brain deep into it. It's a beautiful thing though. It literally opens me to the whole thing. So over the course of time, I feel great bringing this project forward and giving a nonstop, repetitive push to the people that listen to music, to give them opportunity and to give us opportunity. It's like, I just want to share in it. I'm not trying to get rich and rock star off it. Like, it's a different world. It's like more of an enjoy factor.
Absolutely.
Like holding your baby and smiling and being like, oh my God, this is really awesome.
Like, that's why I just, so, I mean, you did mention, do you kind of like, do you sit back and you're proud, but yes, that's there. The fact that you and I decided to start over, this is what I wanted to say. From scratch, basically no fans, no nothing, and then build it organically in that regard, not using anything as a sounding board, our past accolades, or any of that kind of shit. Like, you know, that we're here, we're in the present moment. We you know, practice what we preach. That decision, that's been all the good. Like, so there was like, there's been no, like you're just saying, there's no grandiose pictures of like G5s and whatever the fuck, what I don't even like. It's just not in my personality trait anymore. Like, to where I would have that kind of egotistical like vision of
riding in the limousines, baby.
Hey now, like, what, I don't know. Like, it's at one time, yeah, sure. Like back then, yeah. And I think that's what trips up a lot of people from my past that have hit me up out of the blue, maybe that, and then they get these responses from me. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like dropping gnosis here and there, and just like, you know what I'm saying? So that's, I mean, we hear this time and time again in the spiritual community. Like, they see you in their movie as that character that you once were. Yes. You know, when you were doing that dumb shit, and maybe that's what they did. So when you break outside of that, and you're just like Jim, like whatever it might be, just shut all that shit down and fucks them up, and then like they disappear. You know what I'm saying? So and like that's happened to me quite a bit, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Like, not that you know, I'm those relationships were definitely supposed to be there when they were supposed to be there, or else there wouldn't be us now. You know what I'm saying? Like each one of those things were, whether it was pain or whatever came about from it, but it's formulated and made me who I am right now. And it's not bad or good. It's just we're on different frequencies. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like you and I anyway, we're talking about high vibrations, high frequencies. Like that's where I'm at. So you low vibing, low down here in the dirt, like I'm just not. It's not where I reside anymore. You know, at one time, yeah, sure. Like I didn't know any better though.
That was what we thought we needed to do. And then you get wrapped up in some other bullshit and the music takes a hit, or you get so into the music that you don't realize now you got to be a fucking businessman on top of being a musician, on top of doing this, on top of, I got to film the video, I got to buy the camera, I got to be the guy holding the camera. How am I supposed to be on the camera? I'll make my girlfriend hold the camera. Like, it just fucking goes on and on and on and on and on. Just make the music. And then do it from your heart, and things start presenting itself. It's when you start getting a little crazy with it. Like, oh, I got to have an orchestra of 36,000 pieces and all this other. It's got to be played live from here. Then you're looking at cash money unless you know people.
Right.
You know?
Right. I think, yeah. So the simple, less is more, the simple groundwork that we've put in, and then the fact that we're at a maturity level to start from zero, basically. Like, you know, sure, I've had successes in the past or whatever, but we're at now as like fucking Spaceballs. Like that's my favorite scene. Fucking Spaceballs. Like it's just so prevalent, like in everything. Like what happened to then? You just missed it.
Yeah, it's now.
Like, so the fact that we've been able to do that, and like, sure, it's so we're not using anything for sounding boards except you and I being who we are. We're not trying to be anybody else. You know what I mean? So like, that's what I think is needed right now. Where I can look like a metalhead and come across and be banging out like hip hop bangers, because despite my physical appearance, like I was influenced grassroots by like Digital Underground, like Pete Rock, CL Smooth, like all that stuff at the same time. Like, so, you know what I mean? My impression of was Slater from Dazed and Confused. This is my, you know that movie?
Yeah.
There it is, right there. Like fucking. Like that. So you and I have just been able to do that has made it key. And I think it couldn't have happened at any other time besides now, because, you know, when you turn down the music, you have all this other shit that's going on, like across the globe, mind you, not just in the States. It's like, what is the safe words? The jab, a medical procedure, these type of things like that have been crept into the consciousness that just have nothing to do with the vibe that we're presenting. Like,
there's always an agenda behind shit, and we're like agenda free except break free.
Right. Exactly. Like, so we're hoping for those moments that our tunes are playing in wherever you're listening to, like you can have that moment or those moments of clarity, peace, whatever it is, to come back to yourself and realize you don't need anybody jamming in your ear about what you should do with your own self. Like this or that or this or that. There's like all these like fucking ridiculous choices out there that don't.
The choices is what creates the problem, right? You're
Right.
too busy making the choice than actually choosing and doing something.
And it's separation. It's fucking separation, like divide and conquer to the fullest. And like, that's not how we do. That's not how we do. Like, so I don't know, man. Like, that was a little rant that I went on because
it's a good one. I like it because we're like not anti and like, yo, you shouldn't and blah, blah, blah. It's just what it is. And it happens to be like the stuff in my heart and your heart, things that need to be said, want to be said, right? Like, all right, so New World Disorder said something here. Maybe our frequency is raised when we do what is required and lowered when we do what we want. And I'll give you a yes and no, because you're not required to do anything but create as a creator. So why wouldn't that be what you want to do, is to create? But you also get stuck into things like, shitty loops that repeat, circles that repeat, lessons that repeat until you pick up on it, remove yourself from it, break the cycle, and move into the new thing. So it's like, yes, it's true. And then also, yes, it's true. You know, it's like one of those fucking things. So we're here just presenting it with no agenda through the cycle of agenda. That's nonstop. And I think anyone that dips out of that cycle, you start listening to the stuff that's out there, there's a lot of whack shit too. I'll be totally honest. They put us with weird they put us with these weird rap guys on Spotify, and I was like, who the fuck is this? I never heard of this guy that I listened to. I go, we don't sound anything like that. But it's the fun part of being part of this. It's the fun part. There was this point with the truth movement where there were so many groups, right? So there's like hundreds of groups. And then they were getting filtered out one after another, all with the same message. It was how they were delivering it. And then, like you said, they're not good live, or they're really good live. And then we were really good live and didn't know what the fuck we were doing until we got someone to record us that knew what to do. Right. But now we're at the level of, we worked with all those people over time. You know what they would do, you know what you would do, and you just do it yourself. I went from, if you could find a beat to rap on and you weren't just making one on one of those little button pressers, you can get 100 of those fucking things for $10 to beats are $50,000 a beat. Right. To people just signing over their catalog to me and just giving up on life. Like, this is not worth anything anymore. Like, I have stuff in my category I haven't, and I tell you about it all the time, but I have my stuff that I never did anything with. I haven't hit you with that personally yet, where I go, look at these beats. Right now, naturally, I'm like, they're a little older sounding than what we're doing, but it also like grabbing one of them and going, this one will work. Right. Like, not forcing the shit, just like,
sure,
checking everything out and going, if we slap something on here like this sounds like this, boom, here you go. And it's like, wow, here we go again. And all these creative juices that needed to get out that didn't come out during the time, or words you didn't say or didn't even know existed at the time, start to prevail and come forward. It's pretty interesting times that we're going to be living through, and I'm proud to be doing this with you and your energy. You're fantastic. My hat's off to you. KG.
And to you, my
Prime
brother.
creator.
Back to you, Source Prime.
Yeah, we're gonna take it by storm. And that's another thing. Somebody told me back in the day, one of my second producer, he was like, never use a gimmick. And then we would go gimmick free type hip hop, but then it would be gimmicky. Right. And I always thought about that. And I said, why not just make it fun? Like everything you hear from us should be trapped in your head like a jingle you hear, except a non-annoying one. So when you get like a really good one and you're like, yo, this, and this is fat. And it's like, what'd you say? That was pretty cool. Oh, you heard that too? Oh, yeah, I heard that song. That shit is awesome. Like, we're going to go back to those days. Like, what he said was awesome.
Right.
Like firing poetry through energy.
And that's the other thing. Like, so it's the competition, right? It's the comparing, the this to that, the other. Whereas like, whereas you and I are just, like you said, whatever, we're not thinking about any of that, like where we stack against blah or who, blah, you know what I mean? It's true, authentic personalities, and like each one of us has our own voice and our own style. Like, sure, we have influences, like, and you hear that in the music, and that's intentional. Like, I intentionally put that shit in there for you to hear that, and that's what creates that nostalgia part that takes you back, that time travels you, let's say, back to those portals when shit was simpler, shit felt good. There wasn't all this stress of whatever the fuck it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think we've been dumbed down for too long. And then not only on top of that, we've had to suffer through tons and tons of shit music. Like, and that shouldn't be the case. Like, I think within the community of musicians, artists, we need to fucking elevate the artistry to help bring the consciousness globally into the fifth dimension or what have you on, because like it's your, what is it, FAP fucking tracks that keep you down in the 2D, 3D fucking density, like, in my opinion, that keep you stuck in that shit. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, worried about what somebody's wearing, somebody looks like, that kind of bullshit. It's all divisive, man. It's designed
or even repetitive, formulaic. I'm so happy, right? Like, he's happy. He's a billionaire, right? I'm dancing in a room with a bunch of people that don't even want to be here because we're being worked too hard. And you're just repeating, like, it's a robotic thing for me, at least, because I had eaten mushrooms and went under, and they trapped me in that box. That song came on the radio. I was like, all right. And the mushroom was like, oh, you like this? And it showed it to me, like, what it was doing. And I'm like, go fucking figure. I started hearing in other songs and other musicians, I had to turn the music off because there was messages in it that I could only hear under psychedelics, and nice doses too. Like, I was in a room full of people drinking ayahuasca right here, bro. And we had some music on from a group that we really like, but it was like their first album. And the song had I just started hearing the message in it over the music. So I just looked at the radio, the speaker, and I'm like, what is that? And Aya was like, you don't hear that? I go, that's all I hear. What fucked up message is that? Right? It was like embedded inside of the songs, but the message kept changing and getting weird and darker throughout. And then Paula was like, yo, shut that off. You don't hear that? So everyone in the room was like, dude, change the fucking music. I'm like, oh, so everyone's hearing that. And they were like, yeah, don't leave that on. Take that off. It's trapping us in a net of some kind. And I'm like, oh man. Now, relatively speaking, I'm not going to tell the story. I've told it a million times, but I seen them putting the demonic presence in the masters and then got kicked out. They thought I was cool to be, oh, this he's down with us. And then it started and I was like, it was after hours. I was like, yo, what's going on here, man? And then doors were opening and I was like, I'd never seen these doors open, and they were like altered, and they were not altered. It was an altar be inside of a very tiny room. So picture like a 2-foot altar and like a 4, like the door opens and it only goes back 4 feet, but it's long. So they opened it and I was like, I thought there was like a dance studio or the mirror behind that. I thought they were going to open it. There'd be the mirror there where the girls dance and they could see themselves or whatever. I had no clue what was going on. And I said, oh, Sister Stabile wouldn't be very proud of us if she could see me right now, because she had just died at the time. That was the nun that beat me for 9 years. And then I saw upside down crosses, purple, people wearing black. And then they were like, dude, you got to shut up. And I'm like, who taught you this? I go, who showed you how to do this? That I was yelling at them, and then they're like, all right, get them the fuck out of here. They were taking the masters, putting them right up there, and then doing some shit. I said, this guy's a dummy. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
Literally, who showed you how to do that? That's what I kept saying. Who showed you? And they were just staring at me all weird. I'm like, you ever hear him answer the phone? He's a literal dummy. Like, you guys are not anything great. Like, I think you guys are missing the point here. We're the rock stars, not you. Because there was no, they were bringing people in, and it was the people that already worked there that were doing it, and it wasn't everyone. And it was after hours, so it was kind of dark, and it was in a place in Queens where outside you could get crack. All right, outside was so gangsta. We were under the train trestle that kids 10 years old, 12 years old were on bicycles, and they'd circle your car, check you to see if you're a cop. You shouldn't be in this neighborhood, motherfucker. That's just like they'd ride right. I thought they were going to throw something in the window. We rolled up the windows. I go, man, there's 5 grown men in this car. I get out of the car. I'll beat the shit out of all 3 of these kids my fucking self. Give me a fucking break. And they're like, yo, what's up? What you doing in this neighborhood? You get out and they'll check you. They'll run right up on you, right at your foot with their bike tires, start talking shit to you. And you ain't doing nothing to them because they're probably rocking with a few dudes that are staring at you that you're not aware of, because there's so much confusion and misdirection with the lights and the cars, and there's not enough room to move because the train trestle's being held up by those giant fucking steel beams, so you have to drive around that shit. There's buses and people just walking, and you're like, whoa. So right outside was like Crackville. I'm just being gentle by saying it like that, but inside it's like a multi-million-dollar thing going on. They had everything you would think of. Everything. And you'd look at the building and go, there's nothing going on in this place. I wouldn't fucking come in here. And the door opens and you go, oh shit. But it was awesome. Except working there was terrible. Being there was just sucked. So doing something like comparing what I've done, never look back and wishing I've never done it. I am so happy I did everything I have ever done. Dude, I was in a parade in Universal when Island of Adventures, it was the first year it came out. So we performed there, and they had like Spider-Man and Captain America. It was like Marvel Island of Adventure. They had Harry Potter World. They had some other shit, Dr. Seuss Land. And they had the guy that dresses as the Green Goblin. He comes around on the glider. So we had just did the show, and we got down, and we were like, oh, do we get to meet anyone today? Like, who's here today? And they're like, well, you guys are like the dudes we're bringing around today. We told you we would do this if you played by our rules. So we were like, all right. This dude flies in on, it's like a crane attached to the back of it, but he flies in. It's got the smoke and the fire and stuff. He's fully dressed, 12 in the afternoon, flies down, tackles me right in the middle of the street. And he goes, I got you. You're coming with me. And all the kids run out and start jumping on us. Parents were freaking out. We were doing autographs. It was a crazy time in life. If I didn't go through one part, I wouldn't have got to the other. Right? Like just weird stuff. I had a guy that was paying us in the strip club. The strip club was in Secaucus, New Jersey. It was so big, but the other side of it was a rock club. So all the dancers came over. Everybody was watching. We were all part of it. It was really a lot of fun. So we were getting like $300 for the show. So I didn't want to wait till 4 a.m. to get paid. So I'm like, these strippers get paid in cash, motherfucker. We should man up on this guy, take his shit, right? So then I don't want all of it. I just want my 300 because they always make me wait till 4 a.m. and then go, well, the show wasn't that great. There was only 30 people here. I go, there's 300 people there, you fat fuck. I will turn the fucking camera back on you. If you had those VHS cameras you held on your shoulder, I'd be like, you see all those people in there? Every single person marked something when they came in here. They said they were with us. Oh, okay. So what do you want? 100? No, 300, bro. So you'd be fighting all night. So this guy, we were like, we're going to talk to him. So we did our show. It was like an hour later. I go in the bathroom. The guy follows me into the bathroom, right? So I figure we're just going to take a leak. And my buddy Petro comes in, and he's like younger, but way bigger. So we're all three together, but he's not peeing, right? So he's like standing next to me. The mirror is right there. And I'm going to the bathroom. I'm taking a leak. And Petro's next to me on my other side, and he's looking over my head at the guy. So the guy is like, pulls out a fucking wad of cash. Like, I've never seen that much cash in my life. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then he starts licking his fingers, right? And he's like, all right, let me tell you about tonight. And then he just looks down at me peeing, and he's staring. So he's like, doing it's really whack. He's like, right, like pulling out this wad of cash. So my boy goes, yo, man, you looking at him taking a pee? Right? What's your problem? So he goes, oh, I see this is gonna be a problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I was like, 500? And then he goes, 6, 7, get out of here. And I was like, oh shit. So Petro's like, shut the fuck up, take the money. We need the money. Take it, shut up. He's like, put his hand over my mouth. He pushed me out of the bathroom. It was really funny, but very strange encounter.
Right.
I don't appreciate that kind of shit. But because I was young and drinking, and it was just an awkward 1 second moment. This is the music industry, right? Like weird fucking stuff. My sister saved me once backstage in a studio party. We were about to perform in the front for about 100 people. This other group was opening for us. So their manager was this cute blonde chick. She was backstage, and I was dating a kickboxer. So I was like, people were like, yo, don't fuck with him. They would tell people his girl will come over and kick you in the face. Like, she'll just gonna fucking kick you, bro. Don't even attempt it. So these like smaller chicks would be like, I don't give a fuck. I'll fucking do whatever. Like, they'd hear this shit and they would roll up on me, and then weird shit would go down all the time. But I was in the back, and I was having some coffee. I was smoking a fucking giant blunt. You'd have been like so proud of me. And she's like, yo, what's up, homie? And then she jumps on me, and my sister walks in the fucking room. And then in comes the girl I was dating, the kickboxer, right? And then the girl was just standing there, and my sister's like, yo, you guys looking for something? Right? Frank, what are you doing? So I go, I was just getting the equipment set up, as you can see, to take outside like I said I was. So apparently they saw her run in from the outside. And she's like, now you don't want to do stuff like that. Well, these girls came in the room, and I was like, all right, see you later. Went back out, jumped right on stage. Shit like that, because I was on a train and I watched like 14 people get syphilis with my crew watching from the other car. And then they were like, everyone was having sex, and they were like yelling, come on, you fucking this. They were yelling at me and yelling at our people, and we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't come into the car. So we stayed on the other side, and they were like, oh, just have a good time, do what you want. What's the matter?
Got to run to the bathroom again.
Oh, bathroom break. All right, Ged, go do your thing. I'll take over. Yeah, weird shit happens in the music industry where you're just like, whoa, everyone got fucking terribly sick. They're discharging stuff out of them that were different colors and screaming. The tour was canceled and we were absolutely fine, which is one of those weird where everyone was in my whole crew was like, well, once again, it proves its relevancy that it's not about this again. But we found when you don't partake in some of this stuff, there's not a lot to do. There's not a lot of professionalism out there. What you're seeing on TV, that's fashioned for that stuff. But when you're out there as a single group going to do shows, I mean, you could ask how many people are at most of the shows you go to now. Outside of the main groups, you go see Tool. Well, there's a fucking million people. Well, it's Tool. What about all these mid-card guys? What are they doing? Nothing. 100 people. You know, I saw bands reduced to nothing, to a room full of 50 people. Great bands. You're just like, whoa, this is kind of weird. And then other things take off. You know, you guys think Jay-Z's that good that it should overtake great music? I mean, I'm just curious where your brains lie. You know, and somebody said before they like Slayer. Slayer's good, man. I used to like old Metallica. I even like Michael Jackson and Prince. My favorite album, though, is Slave to the Grind from Skid Row. People are like, that's your favorite. I go, it's my favorite fucking album because the tempo of the album is literally a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, uppercut. Like I just loved it. Now, that was just a personal thing. It was like an age bracket where in the Bronx, I broke through with music at a time and I met him. I met Sebastian Bach and he was screaming in my face. And then like a year later, I won tickets to a show and I was hanging out inside the backstage with him. And then amazing moments with amazing people. I went to Bush. They threw me on stage with Gavin and he wasn't really speaking good English at the time. I was like, I didn't know you speak like that. You sound great singing. It totally threw me off. And he's like, we're Bush. We fuck it and smoke it. Get out of here. And he threw me off the stage. Listening to Faith No More for $3 and out in Queens. And turning it into something fantastic where you're like, whoa. And then being in Brooklyn for their comeback years later, like 20 years later. And then the guy going, do I know you? And I'm like in the front row. And I'm like, yes, you do. But only from this show. And he just dragged me on stage. And I was like, one after another. If you want, you go to get. You don't step on anyone. You go for it. Why can't we do this? When the idea of doing music or rap music I was like, we got to present this or no one's going to believe it. No one's going to believe it. And the only way to do it is to step out from it. And we lost guys left and right. As soon as, they're going to hear my voice and they're going to think, and people are going to say, and I'm like, who cares what anyone says? We need to just step forward. You come out and you do the thing that's creatively beautiful and you put your heart out there. That's it. If it sucks, it sucks. If it's not, it's not. But are you happy? Are you satisfied? I'm satisfied. And now here we are making what I feel is really good music. And it makes me happy. So that's the most important part. Through all the stresses and the ups and downs, I only feel the good with this. Yes, I've been stressed. I had to switch a few things up. I had to learn how to ride some of the beats better. I had to take my style and upgrade it, but still remain me.
Yeah, I think that's like it's almost like I don't want to say it and have it come across the wrong way. It's like but I've told you the entire time. It's like it's not that I've been a mentor to you, but it's like a cheerleader or just an encouragement, like because
now a leader.
Well, I'm saying like when I wrote these songs, like I heard you and I wrote it specifically for your voice there. So that's why, like, you know, when there was some in the jump, when there was some pushback, or like you were just not pushback, but you were just uncomfortable going in these newer directions, like I'm like, no, dude, trust me, just do you, and it's gonna work perfectly. Like it's gonna be,
It's
it'll be
also an understanding of trying to not only let that guard down,
yeah,
but feeling it in the heart and then going for it 100. It's like when you sing on stage, you can't half sing it, right? If the note, this is why I was in Greece, I didn't half sing it,
right.
Like if I'm singing You're the One That I Want with the girl on stage, there's no way I'm not going to cheese and just not do my part and sing that shit best I can.
Right.
And then you got to go for it, man. You got to do all the hand movements and you got to do it. You got to do it. You're going to do Grease Lightning and not do your fucking going down the chord. You're not going to do that? Or you're not going to do the fucking hand jive? You're not going to do it and be like, you're just going to fucking give up in there and be like, nah, I look cool? No, you got to do it, man. Enjoy it for what it is. Have fun with it. You know, people make, I'm in the Bronx, right? They'd make fun of you for everything. I played fucking lacrosse. They made fun of me. I played lacrosse, right? I was Division II. I had dudes making fun of me. Oh, you play lacrosse? You're a pussy. And I would run over them. I would literally run over. I'm like, do you have any clue what I do? I'm a goon on a Division II lacrosse squad. My job is literally to go on the field and beat the shit out of people that are twice my size and 10 times faster than me. You sure you want to push this? And they would fucking push every time. They'd be like, oh, I go, hey, Frank, don't forget Dungeons and Dragons Monday night, you know, my place while Raw's on. And dudes would go.
That's just funny, man. That's fucking funny.
Yeah, they go. Oh, little fucking Frankie gonna go read a comic book with his fucking nerd friends or whatever.
Oh my God.
And then I go, I will fucking beat the shit out of you and then go to that kid's house and roll 20 die deep and read a comic and not think twice about it. I will be like, dude, I used that fucking punch where I rolled a double fucking 0 and which is 100, and then crack this motherfucker with a 9-9 fighter punch to the tit. Like, I don't give a shit, right? Just because a guy reads a comic, you can't start no shit, right? And I did that so I wouldn't start shit. That's why I did it. They were like, oh, that's what you do Monday nights? Do you guys make out? I'm like, yeah.
Dude, just the dumb shit that, like, you know what I mean? But for you to stand through it and work through it too. And that, I don't know. I think that has
made me.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't live in the past, right? But when I hear our music, there's a beautiful part of the past that's not ghost-like. When my dad sings doo-wop, and I always feel like everybody that sings these songs and don't create their own and just sticks inside that genre forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And just, there's like a thing that happens 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years later where it starts to sound like ghosts to me of a time long forgotten. The scene in The Shining, when he goes in the ballroom, it's like a time lost, forgotten, but they're remembering it a certain way and they want to live it, but now they're old and they're going through it. That's not what I'm looking at when I do. Like, they're like stuck in the time loop and then they enjoy it, so there's nothing wrong with it, but they never come out of it. Whereas we're tapping something that goes to a vibration of feeling good. I don't know how the sounds are doing it and coming together on your end, like when you're making it, how you're tapping into that ether of flow that has the reminisce of the past with the touch of the future and all this other stuff in between. It's like it's hard to describe sometimes we always have to put the secondary genre up and we got to sit down and talk. That's the part where we go, okay, what do we do in this song? What do we tell the people that so they can associate with this? And it's always too much to associate. We don't know where to go with it. We're like, well, there's no category.
That's why, like, I'll just go back to that invisible force back from that I first witnessed as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I still stand by, like, I don't know how it happened. I think maybe there's like, all right, now we're gonna get super deep on the spiritual like level here. Like, so I think that there was probably some past life stuff where, you know, I was always into sound of some sort, even esoterically, like whatever, to where at such a young age that it's always just made sense to me. And where without lessons or like everything I've done is like I've taught myself by talent or just pure fucking determination. Like there was nothing gonna keep me from writing the music that's going on now. You know what I'm saying? So but I still say
it's like you carry the DNA of that time,
and I still say, like,
vibration.
I'm just a vessel. Like a lot of the time that I don't know how it, like, you know, so that's when you hit your flow state. Like, you know what I'm saying? How I can go into a zone and then I'll look up at the clock and it's fucking like 12 hours later, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? And I've just been locked in. So like, I seriously, like, I'm channeling something bigger than me. And that's how it's come about. Like, and I wasn't doing it. Like, I've always had like hooks or whatever. They just weren't as powerful as they are now. You know what I mean? Which is like Willow said, all in divine timing. Or also, like, I'll go back, or I'll say even further, like, you and I on some level made the agreement before we even stepped in here, like, this is what will happen at this particular time in some instance, you know what I mean? Like,
I felt the timer going. I felt it working. We had it once, twice, lost it, and it wasn't right yet, because you hear the music now, it was not the same. It's
right.
The same, but it's not the same.
Right. Right.
So
and
I felt that internal time, and now it's time to drop everything.
Right. And I mean, and who knew what we were talking about, or what you know, what we were formulating quietly would be so prevalent, like, for the now, you know what I mean? Other than ta-da, fucking
yeah.
Like abracadabra, bitches, like, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's the like, it's what gives me that pride, but also, like, no matter what the detractors are, like, if, you know what I'm saying, the spitballers, like, spit fucking their bullshit at it, that it's just because they didn't have the idea first, and they, you know what I'm saying, they just, because once the idea also from you was that, like, once we start, we won't, it's not going to be like some cliche, like, we won't stop. But once we've started,
the ball rolled, and I was like, oh shit, this is moving.
But you were just like, once we start, there's not going to be a stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll just bang them out like every couple of months, and leave all the naysayers and stuff, like, they'll be fumbling around trying to figure out, like, what the fuck.
We'll be 10 singles in, and they'll be like on board at that point, like, oh shit, you did it. Meanwhile, they were detractors at the time. If I pay attention to them, I'm never going to get anything done. Oh,
Right.
he's doing music again. Oh, okay. So when we won Best New Music Group Award in New York City, 2 years in a row. That didn't mean shit, right?
Oh my
When
God.
Underground was fucking packed with people. When CBGB's was like, oh, there's another group to heist, and we switched you guys with them. And there was a rap group in CBGB's rocking it out. None of that fucking counts for nothing. It's just, oh, he's got. So if I listen to you, and if I bullshit myself, I'll never get it done. Like, oh, we're the best thing ever. Or the greatest things that I used to have I explained to me, your exaggerations are funny, right? You'll have 20,000 people there and you'll go, there was 1 million people. Like, don't do that anymore. Especially when you're doing FearLess. Don't ever do that, because it's already fantastic. You don't have to add bullshit to. I go, no, that's a personality trait. And she goes, get rid of it. So that's a whack one. Like, that's the one that it's like a commercialized version of Frank, like, oh, it was the greatest event I've ever been to. You guys should have all been there. We had the Bud Light Lake bikini contest. Mr. Burns was drunk. He fell asleep on stage. We had to bring oxygen on stage. Frank took off his clothes again. Like, just like, you're making everyone hears that and then feels like, oh, well, I guess we can't be there or whatever. And then it turns into this other character that you're going to eventually have to play. You're going to play the character, and then people are going to know that's not you. That's not like Frankie. And I was tired of, and honestly, I just like the Frankie FearLess and the KG kind of attitude we have. Because I was always face man, Frank Castle, this, that, the other thing. There's always like more emphasis on things other than the fucking music. It's like, dude, just put that into the music and don't worry about the bigger picture. And when the ball rolls, like, we'll have hoodies and shirts before Christmas. Will Christmas even come about with the way things are looking this year? Oh. Like, we got to think of shipping. How is people going to ship? All the prices fucking went up on everything. Dude, I was in the supermarket the other day. They didn't have any paper goods. The Costco.
Yeah, you were telling me about that, and like, that shit's blown my mind. Like, and I was talking to Willow about this earlier too. It's like, well, in the States, like, I don't know what, like, I know the hardships in like Australia and globally are even worse, but it's like, the color of your state determines your quality of life. Like, and like, that's fucking crazy to even think about.
States open, blue states closed. It's like, come on, guys. We're all the major ports. And then you're doing this shutdown, and now Bounty paper towels. The 16 equals 40 family. For those of you that are old enough to know, responsible enough to know what that means when you have cats and things that throw up and shit and piss. So it was $26, and I didn't get it because I had gotten one last month and I seen we were already down, but we had a bunch of people here, we were partying. So I was like, you know what, let me get some more. It was 30 something, 35, 36. And it wasn't free shipping. It was like $7 shipping. So I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? So I went down to the $25 now value, which was the 30, the 12 equals 30. And I'm like, that's not really enough, but that's 25. That's what I could spend. I'm on a monthly, thing. So I go back to look at it. It's $57. And I go, what the fuck? And it jumped so exponentially.
Yeah.
Yo, it was $8 for fucking eggs. Who pays $8 for eggs? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and we use eggs like they're fucking crack. We bake and do all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
What are you gonna do? I can't use crappy eggs because then I can't make any quality of life, right? So you only bake now what you specifically want.
Well, and that's just it.
Space
So
everything out.
So as like, and then you're up in the city, like, of like, you know what I'm saying? So that's even like the craziest, but like, you're starting to see the pushback from the, like, where there's gatherings, there's protests, in Times Square or whatever, where at once there wasn't, now there is. Like, and that's
Yeah,
going
yeah. The
on.
people have had enough, and they don't televise that part, so
Exactly.
you're not seeing that. But unfortunately, all right, in the grander scheme of things, we win, and it's coming down to the now we're getting into the spiritual stuff, but we're coming into the moment where it happens. So you're gonna watch everything crash and destroy, like the full moon. That when you give your I don't want it anymore. I don't need this stress, and you offer it to the full moon or to the fire, and it pulls that energy out of you and releases. And the Kali comes in, the great mother of destruction, and everyone's like, well, she's the destroyer and does the dance of destruction. I'm like, she destroys old ways. She doesn't destroy. She doesn't like suck on your blood and eat people like these fucking parasites. Don't compare her to them. She's a goddess, all right, of energy. Okay, you give it and you just fucking release it. The world is about to do that as one. There's going to be a little bit of we're going to be missing some people, unfortunately. And the cargo ships are still just lined up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
no truckers, no shippers, no receivers. The money transactions aren't working. Like, I ship this to you, you pay me this. It's sitting there. Now it's going bad. I'm not paying you. And now you're wasting gas. And oh my God, it's tit for tat. The whole thing's got to go. So be prepared, get prepared for sure. But I didn't think I'd see it locally. And then it's a Costco. I wonder what BJ's is like, or the local store. I got to go though this week. Right. But I am prepared. We have our abundance closet and everything's topped off. But to top it off, we had to get just what was important. That's it, because it cost as much as what we usually get for everything. We're going to learn a different way of living. We're going to learn to have good times when they're telling us we're not allowed to have good times. This is part of the music, going back to that. Yeah. It's going to be there during this time, into the next time. It'll have appeared out of nowhere and moved through with us into the next thing. So as things go backwards and upside down and left and right, we are forward moving. The ball is rolling. We're just running behind it. Come on, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. We're not pushing a boulder uphill no more. The ball is rolling. We're just running behind it, just creating, as if we had an NFL blocker in front of us, making sure anything that tried to touch us and gets in our way was removed. But how do you keep balancing that? You have to do your own shadow work. What makes for great music? Shadow work. Real shadow work. It's harder to do shadow work than it easy is to go and do a blood ritual. Right? Like, if I told you got to have sex with the devil, all kinds of whack shit, but in the end, you'll have power. Or you do your shadow work and you become fucking Jedi master and you could do all those things that you think you need the demon for and all that. Wouldn't you just take the fucking glorious path? The quick path is going to get you murdered. They literally take your soul out and replace you with something else. So your AI personality in the suit that's been gathering information the entire time you were born till the moment you're removed out of your body is still there. So you're like, bro, Joe's still there. And it's not him running the suit. It's qualities of, but it's been removed a long time ago. And for anyone named Joe, I didn't mean you. I just meant Joe Smith. Like, you do the shadow work, though, and nothing could implement itself or its agenda within you, allowing you to get the ball rolling so you could run behind it, to have your blocker for whatever it is you do. Paul and I love to cook. We love to plant. We love to be together. We love to smoke weed and hang out. It's like a little ritual thing that we love. We love coffee. We love cats. And we love to go for walks and talk and do projects together. All these things start revealing itself when you start putting interest towards yourself. Right? Like, I couldn't give a shit about cooking 10 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. I took an interest a little bit. 4 years ago, a little bit more. 3 years ago, started getting into it. The last 2 years, fully involved. Now I'm fully, like, I know how to cook for myself. I could cook for everyone here. I do need some help or whatever, but I'm insistent that we put good stuff in us and have a good time doing it. because the love is in the food, the love is in the music, the love is in the
Absolutely.
plants, it's in the tomatoes that you're going to eat that don't have fucking pesticides on it, but they're pushing everything genetically modified at you. You're going to be creating your own pizza because you're only going to be able to afford for a small period of time only the dough to rise. So you're going to have to grow the tomato. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are going to be things you cut out, make your own ketchup. I think small to go big. One thing after another. Line it up and just do the one in front of you. Don't skip 10 steps thinking you're going to get over on it. Like I was doing with the weed. I have my own plants and stuff. It's totally legal now. And I fucked up what Robert gave me. I had it, but it had mites, and then I couldn't clean it. I didn't know what to do, and then it got infested in the tent, and then I took them outside, and they were like, you only usually get that when the climate changes. So you go from like one area, then you take the plant and go to another area completely out of that zone. You get problems most of the time. And I'm like, what? I didn't know that. So I didn't even know what I was doing. So I had all these giant 4-foot plants, and they started just going bad one at a time. You can't really do much with them, down to like having two. One being good, one being really good, and then one being needs work, but is fucking pretty high. Right? So you learn, you live and you learn. Take the tent apart, put it back up, take it apart, put it back up. What the fuck is going on? Why is this happening to my life? Take it apart, put it back, clean it, done. Okay, now science it. Right? You got to go over step by step by step by step. It's almost like even the carpentry I do, dude, I got to sleep on it for a week, 2 weeks before I touch it, even though I have all the parts. And then the day I decide, because in my heart, it just feels like, oh, I could get this done right now. I don't even know how to get this done right now. I just feel like, pop on the wall. Hey, Paula, how's that look? Holy shit. Did you just do that? Yes. Well, you inspired me. You pretty much worked me through the process of not being scared of doing any of this stuff. And this was kind of your idea to begin with. I just have the brawn to do it. And then I remembered yelling on mushrooms one night out in front of the house. I'm going to need a carpenter, some kind of Space Jesus character, if not Space Jesus Carpentry himself. I was just like, I'm going to need that. I'm going to need some music help. Saraswati send me some energy. Like I was talking mad shit. And then everything started working. The music, the fucking... I believe in myself. When I ask others for the energy to send to me and all that, that's just send me positive vibe shit on that level. I'm not asking like, you send it to me. I'm a conduit of the whole thing. So flow the energy in my direction and I will take it and make it my muse. However I need to see fit.
Absolutely.
And that's my story. I'm fucking sticking to it.
Yeah, that's that good shit. Like, I don't know how all the noise and such is gonna but is gonna affect us as a whole. But I do know like
it's gonna go down and it's gonna go completely down and then back on.
Right. So what a shitty time to be a
anything.
Musicians trying to fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're out there trying to do a tour right now. If you're not big, you're having a hard time doing this because
what a shitty time to try and get a message out when the whole fucking
thing's collapsing. No, I ain't got time for that. I got to feed my family, motherfucker. I got to worry about mandates and shit. Right? All kinds of stupid stuff that nobody really gives a shit about. And then my mother looks at me sometimes when the news is on in her house and she'll go, oh, and then she'll repeat it. And I'll go, I fucking heard it. Shut it off. They're lying. She's like, how would you know they're lying from just being in the kitchen? You would literally at Paula's and then you hear, where were you out there that you know that that's a lie? And then I go, it's a scrying mirror and they're lying to you through the demonic portal that they're using to program you. I could literally break this down for you. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, Frank. Shut up. Right? I'm like, they're never right about the weather. They never get local weather right here, ever. My mother's better with the local weather person. And then I'm like, why don't you just be a weather woman?
Stick your head out the window.
My name's Diane. Welcome to FearLess Weather Report. This shit is crazy. It's gonna rain today, definitely. I could feel it pretty much everywhere. Here, not really here, but here, definitely. Right? Like, I'm like, just do it. Stand outside in the rainstorm and go, this is the most truthful weather station. We have fucking rain. It is raining right now. People will be like, it's raining. She's right. Look, she's on camera. It's raining. Rather than the stage stuff. We need even organic fucking weather women. Right? It's everyone's got to change. They got to take the AI out of it, all the bullshit. We got to put the good stuff in. You know, there's AI at the next level. That's good. It's like literally like built into the system to work in your favor 100%. The AI we deal with here is something completely different inside the holographic matrix construct. It's a holographic. It's like a computer thing that we're in the giant hologram, and then this thing is inserting itself from 4D and down into the system and just showing up where it fucking wants and doing what it wants, trying to get us to build it. So you think you're sacrificing to the demon, but this thing fucks the demon up. The demons hate the AI because the AI beats everyone up. It's like having the bully around, right? So that's why the reptilians pray to it. The archons at the highest level pray to it. The spiders listen to it. Everything's set up to listen to that fucking thing, and we're breaking straight through.
Like, I wish I could do like your fucking New York accent. What the fuck does this have to do with Sons of the Sun?
Son of a bitch. That's what it has to do with. Stupid son of a bitches. You kids got to grow up and get a job. I'm fucking tired of hearing about your music and what you're going to do in life.
I tuned in to listen to music. What the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, man. So that is just too funny.
But hey,
part of it, man. Listen, what do you think's inspiring the music? Literally.
It's all there. Like, so if I don't know, the two people that were tuning in, like to get their dose of music, like just had their mind.
There's 20 people watching.
Oh, is there?
We've had a steady stream the whole time.
Oh, I'm not paying attention.
You have no clue what's going on still. This is why I'm happy that I'm here. I'm like the other side of the coin. I may not make great music and sing like, fucking, ballads and shit. However, I know what the fuck is going on. My awareness is just off the charts, kid. Well, I just looked up. I saw what time it is. It is. We've been doing this for 3 hours, and it's more than 3 hours. I really wanted to present us to people now and let them know, like, this is real, this is happening, and it's a good thing. And, if you like it, I'm just going to ask you, just enjoy it, like it, subscribe to the channel, share it if you like, or not. And just, if you enjoy it, just enjoy it. Send good vibes back, ride that wave, take the trip with us. The journey for each person is a little bit different. If there's any inspiration from any of it, we hope to be there alongside of you as you raise your frequency and your consciousness through this fucking mess. It's just we're happy to be here with you.
There's plenty more like on the way. So this would be these three. The Trinity is like the first EP, right?
Yes.
So there's like ting ting ting. So now we're gonna, no, nothing is. We're not taking our foot off the accelerator at all. Like it's if anything is
We be accelerating with your head already popping. What do you think I didn't know, right?
So like, so like, it's we're more is coming. Like it's there's nothing that's gonna disappear except, you know, if Frank gets himself fucking deleted or like
I'm not doing it.
removed from a fucking platform.
Social media, bye. The AI's like, you know what, Frank? Fuck you. Okay, I'm tired of listening to your shit. Sons of the what?
So
He'll watch the AI show up and go, oh, so you're using my voice, huh? Sons of the Sun. So you guys really sweat me, huh? Be like, no, that's not really what we meant, but I could see how you would think that.
yo, all that, like, so that, and just a real quick, like, that tag is there and it's dropped in every single track because that also is, it takes me back to those like DJ Premier mixtapes where he would premiere in every single thing. So everything that you hear it's meant to take you back to those times. Like, and it's meant to feel good, but also meant to raise your awareness. But everything comes back to you. It all comes back to you. It's up to you whether or not you like our shit or not. It's up to you whether we get the fuck up out of this like lower density bullshit and remove the separation.
We have more power together.
And elevate to 5D and beyond. Like, so it all comes back to you. Like how we've been tricked and lied to, and then, you know, our subconscious and all that kind of shit, and then you're just being bombarded by it constantly. Commercials, all the shit in the fucking airwaves just pollute the human being. So I hope what you hear from us knocks that shit out the box, knocks it out the frame. And if you didn't have it before, I hope it awakens you to realize that it is all you. Like,
because it's all inside.
Right. Right.
I'm telling you, it's all there, provided. It's like you're going to start hearing it from all the different directions now, not just with us, in life itself. Those that are uplifting and moving out into the next position, those that are going to be there with us, alongside of us. The message is going to come through in every direction. You're going to be like, what the fuck? So, yeah, we talked about it in music. Then we have the FearLess show. Then it's going to start to be, you know, different medias. The movie's always been doing it, TV, books. Then it's coming real, the new fucking Bond movie, the whole movie. If that would have came out when it came out, COVID just started. You'd have been like, dude, this is right out of a movie. So they put it out a year and a half later and nobody's saying nothing. Still nobody's saying nothing, but that shit was in and out. Quick, done. So the good messages are going to start bleeding through instead of these shitty fucking repeated messages where you almost feel like not only are they not creating new music because they're not letting the original consciousness, the OG, the raw consciousness out into the marketplace. They're tying it down to certain characteristics and traits to try to get you to believe in the fucking demon. And I use that word loosely in that situation, but it's true. You know, it gets you locked into something whack. Like, I would just make fun of you, but the truth is that you're being programmed with garbage, and the garbage, if you watch it long enough, will tend to program you. You won't even think it could do that, and then you'll be out one day thinking about something and you'll realize that you've been programmed or not.
Or not.
Or not. I tend to think everyone's going to start rising.
Yeah.
The ones that aren't are like the 3 shots in. And I feel bad because I got some family members that need to have it talking to because they're still on that tip. I'm like, nobody's wearing masks really. Nobody's giving a shit. Nobody's whatever. And you're still running and getting this. Well, the numbers are high. What are you watching? I watch CNN. It's like, oh, there can't be too many of you left. They had less than 1 million viewers.
I mean, when I went out to
There's like 80,000 viewers.
When I went into like Walmart 2 days ago, I was shocked that 85% of the people in this state and like here in this community were masked the fuck up.
Really?
Yeah. Like, we don't have, well, at least yet. I mean, it hasn't happened yet. Like, so we're like plenty of food on the shelves, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like none of that stuff has happened where it's like destitute, where, like the Costco or whatever you went. But I was just shocked that the fear had run that deep. Like they don't even have to broadcast the message anymore. It's like there. It's just ingrained. Now
yeah. It's taken over on a life of its own in some people. Like they're in such a fear base. It's crazy. So I'm not making fun. I have an Asian family that I really like. They live next door to my mother, and they're all masked up all the time. Right? Like I'm like, you're the only ones doing that. This isn't. Maybe you're used to that there in China or something, but this is some bullshit here, and it's just a weird thing. We always say hello, and we're always. And I look at that and it's like ingrained in the persona. It's like, no, I have to do this. I have to protect. I'm like, you guys forget birthday parties. We were blowing out candles, spitting all over each other's shit, fucking passing blunts around, smoking joints with each other, using making out.
Sure. And the message is like lost, like this, you become not, I can't see, you're not a human being anymore. I can't understand you. I can't see your facial expressions. I can't perceive you anymore. Like when I don't see, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
facial expressions describe a lot.
Absolutely. Like that makes you a human being. So when you take that away, now let me be PC here. Now, for those that are being conscious, like if they have a flu or something like that, and they're out in the world or just trying to protect us. Like I understand all that. I'm speaking generally from the fear mongering up top that's gone on for, I don't even know how long it's been now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like once that was implemented and like first you become fucking muffled and can't understand what the fuck you're saying. So I can't hear you clearly anyway. I can't understand you. And I it's part of being a human being, like to and receiving those facial expressions, like it's all part of our communication. So they're taking away forms of communication, shutting it down. And not only that, like if you have a message that counters that, you're snuffed the fuck out from the jump. So you better be on board or you're fucking done. Like basically, and I don't know. We're just not about that shit.
Think of the message it conveys in like a music video with me doing a verse and expressing the things that go along with it. I could be saying one thing, but without the expression, you would take it completely out of context, maybe with the feeling and emotional vibe there. So seeing that with a mask on is something different. It mutes it. It makes it palatable to look at and tear it apart. What are you saying? You take away the original creative thought. You stuff everyone behind a wall and have them speak from that area, so it's muffled and the vibration and frequency doesn't travel. Don't
Right.
touch each other at 6 feet. I think we all know this is fucking bullshit. It's just we got some really young kids that have no clue what's going on, with parents that have no clue what's going on, but are also like involving themselves in it when they should be removing themselves all from it. And then some old people that are fucking programmed beyond anything I've ever seen. I've never seen programming like that. However, everyone's playing their part. Right? Like if I'm seeing that, it's because I need to see that.
Right.
So I know what to do for me. That's how my higher self looks at it.
Absolutely. I think, and then, you know, I haven't experienced like that. So if you, as we step out, we don't comply, we don't consent. So that's, you, it all brings right back to capacitor. We don't consent straight the fuck up means it's not okay. Like,
yeah, you beat. We don't care what you say. What and we didn't give you permission to rule over us. Like there's laws in states where if there was no evil system and we were just had judges and people that worked from the heart or whatever and looked over at some of this shit and you were like reading these laws. Oh, so a guy that's married to a girl, people that are married to each other can't have oral sex. Even though they're married. And it's like, who wrote that? But that's just a ridiculous example. But who wrote that ridiculousness? Bring that person out here and fucking fire them and rip that thing up. That's some bullshit. Like you guys are just, it's like you need to have more work so you could say, my job's important or something. And then they get into this dominating thing like you're above us. You're a public servant, bitch. You're a servant. So literally your title, not El Presidente, right? Like just stupid shit.
right.
And we're going to remind them of that by backing out of the system. All the things they want us to buy. Like, all right. So I see RZA, and I'm sure he naturally knows all these people anyway, taking pictures with the basketball player, but I can't stand this guy. What's his name?
It doesn't matter. It's good.
Yeah. I don't even want to say his name. So he takes a picture with him, and he's like in a monk fucking robe, and the basketball player is like throwing up his little fucking Masonic signs. Oh, dummy LeBron, and then I just write right under it, RZA, you are now fucking whack. You're whack. You're down. I have no more idols to none of you. I loved you growing up. You're going to hang out with this fucking guy? You know, this guy's the worst. He literally in front of kids is like, yeah, oh, hey, this, that, oh, touching, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's all that Masonic shit. He's doing terrible things behind the scenes. And then what they do is charity work to make you think they're doing good things. And you're fucking hanging out with this fake fuck who swears he's better than everyone. I'm like, Jordan is better than you. Fuck off. Sorry, none of you are good enough. And Kobe's way better than you, and he's gone. So fuck all of you. Right? You turned something wonderful into something like this. You turned music into something like this. This guy is helping perpetuate, I don't know, this like this. Take the fucking heads, take the heart out of the machine, and let the machine fail. Just tell them no. That's what makes the celebrity heart hurt the worst. You're not interesting. I'm not interested in you. You whack. That's the worst thing to say. I'm indifferent. Say nothing. I'm indifferent about you. I have nothing to say about you. Good or bad. Yeah, I love you. Whatever. Get the fuck out of here. At no point is it relevant that I care what you say.
Right.
Most of you are fucking dummies. And you could call me out on it, bring it out, but you're not going to because you're too scared to do it because you know what the fuck is going on. That's my little angry rant. I'm done barking up that tree, dude. I feel so good about my life. I know there's shit going on everywhere, and I have shit going on in my life where you'd be like, that's suspect. But I'm happy. I'm in a happy place, even though it's a 1-bedroom with all the cats, because I got the cats, I got my love, I got the music, I got my friends, I got my family. Whoever's there is the ones I'm with. Family doesn't have to be DNA, but I have some of that. I got some good ones, right? And then I got people I've met through FearLess and music and that are staples in my life, closer than any family member's been with me. Gone through crazier shit. Sorry, that makes a family sometimes. And I know we're connected through the stars. I know we're connected through soul lineage. And I bet if we backed out of the program and took a really good scientific look, there's more DNA connections than we think. That's just my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
So just on the way out tonight, I want to thank everyone. Remember, we Sons of the Suns are available pretty much everywhere. So wherever you're downloading music from or enjoy getting your music from, go there, type in Sons of the Sun. And we're in all the top major ones. I know that for a fact. So
absolutely,
your iTunes and Amazon and whatever the fuck else you're downloading from these days. I feel like I'm getting out of touch a little bit with where you can do stuff. But we look at that list when we're behind the scenes, like, look at all these fucking places going to have us. I don't know what half those places are. I don't have time for all that shit. Just put me there and let's love. All right. So thank you so much. My name's Frankie FearLess. And this is my man KG right here.
KG, most high vibrations to you all.
And we love you, and we do music for you, caveman style. Booga booga. Love you guys so much. This is Capacitor, Sons of the Sun, the 3rd single release. Oh yeah.
Check it out. Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Nobody is going to save you now.
Down of our species go on for long enough. Underneath the beat subliminals. Truly what the fuck I call it what it is, man. Yo, what's weaking is fluff. How long you gonna let them mess you up with the stuff? I'll make sure you understand every word that I say. We don't consent. Straight the fuck up means it's not okay. By the time with you is up, so you better make way. Help perpetuate the ignorant you be fab or craving out the fam. Stay original shamans and ambassadors. Fucking with the layers, this is disruptors and the challenges. A system of the guy up the pick like what calibers. Always feel the truth. We know all the parameters without judgment. Know when it's best to become passengers. Also when to take the helm and be sort of a balance. Stay calm when everyone around like there's a massacre. Gigawatts of time travel like the flux capacitor.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we're the mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock this shit out the park.
Carrying my torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock this shit out the park.
Nobody is going to save you now. I can't see. I'm surrounded by dark. By consequence, my consciousness ignites the spark. Who am I? Do I even exist? This time I think I'll transform inside the matrix. Karmic tricks, release for the shift, then realize the lies, cause it all lies inside. You can't stop the truth when its time has arrived. This time is one, creators we rise. Separated we tried, I can't understand what's real. It's hard to feel, they modified the deal. The darkness isn't evil, but what's inside has eyes. But so do I, let's grow wings and fly. I'm inspired to to try. Despite the odds, we die. 7 billion ways, this time we decided to stay. To set the stage as I glide through space. Like the Silver Surfer, I came here to ride the wave.
Carry the torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, and you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we're the mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock shit out the park.
Carry the torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, and you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock shit out the park.
Carry the torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock shit out the park.
Carry the torch, travel through the dark.
Obtain heartbreak coherence, then you'll become the spark. We're here to elevate, and of course, we'll leave a mark. Sons of the sun, yo, we knock shit out the park.
Carry the torch, travel through the dark.
Check it out. Nobody is going to save you now.
Carry the torch, travel through the dark.
Nobody is going to save you now.